All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Welcome back to Press X Podcast. Appreciate you guys joining me today and waiting patiently as always for the intro to finish up. I hope everybody is doing well today. It is Sunday, January 4th. We're already 4 days into the new year. What is time? What is time, bro? But yeah, appreciate you guys joining me today. We have the Universal Gamer, a member for 29 months. He says, Happy New Year, MBG and everyone. Well, thank you, Universal Gamer. Happy New Year to you as well. I hope it's a good year. I hope 2026 is good for all of us, obviously. It's going to be a good year for gaming. I'm sure there's going to be some chaos. There's always some chaos. You can't completely avoid it. You just can't do it. But says, what up, GOAT? What's up, Victor? Thank you. Thank you, bro. Wasn't there like a GOAT named Victor on Ed, Ed, and Eddie? What up, GOAT? Who's flicking to purchase a new expensive console in the economy when most games will probably also play just fine on PS5? That's a great question. Boy. It's all right, boy. I don't know, Dutch. Yeah, so today we have a pretty significant follow-up topic to go over and talk about the PS6. Apparently, it's I don't know, man. As of right now, Sony has not delayed the PS6. It's not a thing that has happened. And I think this is really important to kind of go over and talk about because we recently just talked about Tom Henderson and his report. And to be clear, I want to make this very clear. Tom Henderson did not say that Sony delayed the PS6. He did not say that. He said that there are discussions going on behind the scenes that, you know, are talking. They're discussing Sony and Microsoft. They're discussing the possibility of delaying the next gen consoles. And this has led to, you know, so many reports coming out and so many people, I mean, frankly, just kind of running with it. It's understandable. Like, I'm not condemning anybody who walked away from it being like, oh, there we go. Good news. PS6 is delayed. We got more time with the PS5. I don't blame anybody for doing that. I totally get it. You know, this is what a lot of people want. But, you know, Moore's Law, Tom from Moore's Law is dead. The two Toms rolling in with the PS6 leaks. Tom from Moore's Law is dead. He was saying that, you know, Tom Henderson's a good source, obviously, and he takes him seriously as we should. Tom Henderson has proven to be a great source for PlayStation, but it seems like Moore's Law is dead was just trying to clear some things up in the name of people not getting, you know, too far ahead of themselves, which I saw a lot of people do. Like, guys, again, I put out a Twitter post that garnered over like 7 million views and got thousands of replies. Dude, people very much took it. And to be clear, my post was saying exactly what Tom Henderson was saying, where there's talk about the next gen consoles, including the PS6, maybe getting delayed. And people really took that as, oh yeah, well, there we go. Good news. It's been confirmed. And so we're going to discuss this today. We're going to actually play some of the clips from Moore's Law is Dead's recent stream so we can hear exactly what he had to say and just kind of take it from there. You know, the PS6 is going to be a constant talking point throughout 2026. Michael says, since Tom said it, I'll take his word for it that it is delayed. Yo, Rockfresh says, I got my PS6 money ready, baby. Let's go. I'm ready. Dude, that's what's so funny is the amount of people I'm seeing like, yo, I'm still ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for the PS6. Let's go. MBG, am I a shill? Probably not. No. A shill, I mean, you got to be really, really peddling something, you know? So probably not, Lady Gamer. Dude, Irfan, they do. Yeah, people really, really, really want the PS6 to be delayed. Like, they really, really want the PS6 to be delayed. When do I think a state of play will be announced? Probably at the end of this month or early February. I went back and I looked to see all of the state of plays that Sony held since 2020, and there was only 1 year they didn't do a state of play in January, February, and that year was 2020 because they did like multiple showcases. Every year since then, January, February, state of play locked in. Boom. Grab a beer and ignore it. Mr. B says, I'm down for a PS6 with a better CPU and more advanced tech. Where's the Pragmata demo? Good question. Good question. But yeah, we're going to go over this today, guys, and we'll talk about CES as well. For those who are unaware, Sony will be attending CES in 2 days, but I need to caution everybody, specifically if you're interested in the gaming side of things, because it seems to me like Sony might not have anything gaming related to show or talk about at CES. Like the most you might see Sony talk about at CES this year is like, hey guys, check out our new Sony car with a built-in PS5, which is pretty sick, and a DualSense and all that stuff. Our car makes Astrobot sounds. I don't know. I could see them doing something like that, but I don't think you're gonna. They don't have like a normal keynote. They're doing a press conference at CES, but this press conference is specifically in conjunction with Honda on the Sony Afeela vehicles that they're making, the cars. So I think gaming will show up. Like PlayStation as a brand will be there. Like there's going to be certain things built into this vehicle that are going to be PlayStation related. But in terms of like Sony giving us any insight into PlayStation tech, PS6, certainly not. Anything regarding like like new game reveals, that's just, yeah. Dude, I remember that too. Jim Ryan came out CES 2019. Here's the logo of the PS5. And it's like, dude, that got memed on so bad and it was so funny. Because it is exactly the same. Just changed the 4 to the 5. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God, they did it. Good times, Irfan. The state of play will probably be Pragmata focused. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about that. Sony usually does with earlier state of plays, like in the first half of the year, they usually have like a third party game that they focus on. But I don't know. I mean, they have almost said Returnal. They have Saros coming up, so they'll probably have to do more. Tarnished. Interesting. I can't read that comment, but I mean, I'm reading it, but I can't say that comment. But I don't know if it's that serious. Like I could see Sony basically being like, listen, we're cool if you wait. It's okay. There's one really interesting thing, in my opinion, that Moore's Law is Dead talked about that for me, this was like the big thing where I'm like, dude, yeah, I don't think the PS6 is going to be delayed in the way that some people think it is. I don't think so, man. I don't like. I think it could still be delayed, but we were talking about the idea of the PS6 being delayed to like 2029, 2030. I mean, multiple years. And after hearing what Moore's Law is Dead had to say, I realized that that's not on the cards. That's not on the cards. That's not going to happen. And I think some people will be upset by that, but I think for those people, it's just going to be, listen, it's fine if you stick with your PS5 for a little bit. You'll be okay. I think people are afraid of the FOMO. That's what I think. I think people are projecting a fear of like, no, don't make me buy one. Don't do it. Hold on one sec. Let me bring this up here. Perfect Image, what's going on, man? MBG, will you be playing the best Souls-like game of the generation that drops next month? Of course, I'm talking about the goated Neo 3 by Team Ninja. You know, I'm actually considering Neo 3, but I'm a little bit nervous and intimidated. I didn't really play Neo 1 or 2, and they seem very difficult and kind of overly complex in a way. I'm gonna try. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't want to commit to it. There's a chance. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a chance. FOMO is a real thing. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I think a lot of people like don't want to buy PS6s in 2027, but they're like, oh no, like Sony's they're doing it anyway. Like, they got me. They got me. You know, like people are weak. They know they're weak. Sony knows you're weak. A multi-year delay would mean throwing out the whole design, which would be a huge thing at this point. Yeah, exactly. And we were speculating about that. You know, we were talking about the idea, like, would Sony actually be like, you know what, we're going to do a whole redesign of the PS6 and basically start over. Like, I want to make it clear, anything can happen. None of this is locked in, okay? Except for, there is one thing that's locked in. And if Sony really wanted to, it would be devastating if they did, though. They could cancel it and find a way out of it. But it would probably be devastating for them. So we'll talk about that. We're gonna dive into that soon. I'm just gonna, just giving it a little bit of time here for people to kind of file in. You think 2028 would be perfect? Dude, yo, Animusha showing up at the next day to play as like a main focus would be cool. Yeah, that game looks good. PS6 launch with Bloodborne Remake fall 2027. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, boy. That'd be awesome, dude. Reanimal and Ari Requiem is kicking off an insane purchase year for me. Still don't know how I'm going to afford everything. Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. It's gonna be a rough one. It's gonna be a rough one in the best possible way. It's a good problem to have. It's a problem we want to have. You think 4 years after the Pro is fair, in my opinion? Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me too. Yeah, like if you bought the PS5 Pro at launch, you got 4 solid years with it. I mean, that's good. That's good. That's almost half a decade. I mean, I don't know who could realistically feel bad about that. But all right. Wait, Kazjam, what are you talking about? You're saying I gave an opinion on the PS6 not being delayed, and she gave a fanboy response mentioning Xbox and kept on. It's not that serious. There's conflict. Conflict already in the chat. I'm here to resolve the conflict. What is the conflict? We must resolve the conflict. We will resolve it swiftly. Oh, Kazjam, you're afraid you're getting banned or something? No, you're not getting banned, dude. Certainly not. Let's see. Channel activity. Okay. Oh, that's why Lady Gamer was asking if she was a shill. Because you said she's acting like a shill. People have differing opinions. Let me see. Channel activity. We will resolve this. Now it's not loading. Come on, YouTube. Bro, I'm trying to moderate here. I'm trying to do my job. And YouTube is not working. They're like, we ain't showing you, bro. Sorry. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure what the conflict is here. Yeah, guys, come on. Just chill the fuck out, man. Like, what is this shit? Stop it. You could call somebody a shill. It's fine. People call me a shill all the time. It's fine. It's fine. But don't go on about it. That's my focus here. You could call somebody a shill, and somebody could say, I'm not a shill, and then that's it. If you want to believe somebody's a shill, believe it. If you want to say, hey, I'm not, I'm not. Don't call me that. Then just leave it. Just walk away from it, you know? That doesn't matter. Call me a Sony pony. Absolutely. Yeah, like listen, I'm gonna have to. There's been this kind of like ongoing problem on the channel where I have been kindly requesting people to like I need people to be adults. Okay? Like it's that simple. Like it's okay if you want to um have a strong opinion on something. I've reiterated this numerous times over. Um, you know, if you want to call somebody a fanboy, if you want to call somebody a shill, um, you know, the request at that point is again back up the argument that you're trying to make. Like, why would you call that person that? Do you have a valid argument, or are you just picking a fight? And if it becomes clear you're just picking a fight, it's like this isn't conducive to the conversations we are trying to have. You know, but at the same time, like I don't want people to think that they can't engage in those types of conversations. You can. You can. You're not going to get banned. You know, I don't know. Like, I think there's some people had this idea that it's like if they even say something, oh, like no, like just don't be a dick. That's it. Don't be a little fragile baby where oh my god, like the littlest thing made me shatter. Don't do that because we're not doing that. Again, we'll be adults about it, but also don't be a dick. It's just finding that middle line. It's not. I don't think it's that difficult. For some people, it might be somewhat difficult, but that's it, man. You know, don't be overly sensitive. Don't be overly harsh. That's all it is. That's all it is. Unfortunately, these days, people on the internet, and you look out there, it's like they're like one way or the other. So there's the resolution. Chill. Don't even go there, hotshot. Don't even go there. Well, I mean, Lady Gamer, I understand that, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna treat that person like, whoa, buddy, you're way out of line. Um, because I mean, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Like, if he kept bothering you and harassing you and going on and on, it's like, all right, yeah, now this is becoming a problem. And you know, I guess I don't know. I'm just saying, like, for me, calling somebody a shill, I guess I'm just kind of used to it at this point. You know, to me, that's as common as calling somebody a fanboy. That's just how I see it, anyway. Where it's like, I mean, you can take offense to it if you want, and that's fine. But you know, it's not like I'm going to ban somebody for saying that shit. Oh Jesus. Okay. All right, we have a super chat. Kaz Jam comes in. He says, "Hey, BG, I wasn't trying to offend anyone. I just simply gave an opinion about the PS6 now being delayed and got a fanboy response from a mod, and she keeps going on and on about it." Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a big deal, man. The chat's rowdy this morning. Sure is. Sure is. Um, on a brighter note, guys, it's my son's birthday today. So mm, mm, mm. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I almost said his name. Had to stop myself there. All right. Appreciate the birthday wishes, guys. I'm sure we'll be happy to see that. Don't put up with these comments. Just pull out your gun and say, I'm the boss. Your opinion doesn't matter. Anybody else have something to say? Yeah, dude. There we go. That's how I'm gonna deal with it. Almost directly a month before your birthday. Nice, Devil Shooter. All right. Where were we? So we got to go over what Moore's Law's dad had to say. By the way, we have to go over what Moore's Law's dad had to say because he gave us some good insight into the PS6. And listen, if you love PlayStation and you're a fanboy and you're a shill, that's okay. You're allowed to be that. If you hate PlayStation and you wish it would die and go away, that's okay too. But regardless of where you stand on that spectrum, seems like Sony's coming in hot with the PS6 2027. It's happening. It's happening. Want a new soundbite? Oh man, I don't know, Irfan. What is it? Micro slop? Oh, Irfan, what is this, bro? Don't shills get paid? Doesn't sound too bad. Actually, I don't know. I'd have to look deeper into that. I think they do, right? Tom has gotten things wrong, though, in the past. Remember, he was wrong about the Switch 2. Well, yeah, I mean, nobody has a perfect track record. The thing about Moore's Law's dead is he gets, at least for PlayStation, stuff leaked that's like, whoa. Like, straight up, like, here's the PlayStation 6 APU. It's like, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Not gonna lie. That's pretty good. It's trending on Twitter. Oh yeah, because of what he said about not calling AI slop. Dude, come on, man. Read the room, bro. Read the damn room. Stop calling it AI slop. Says the company that needs AI to work in their favor, or else. It's not slop. It's beautiful art. It's human creativity unleashed. Don't you know? Oh, man. I think Satya might resign. There's been rumors that Bill Gates had a meeting with him on why Microsoft is behind on AI and why Windows 11 is performing poorly. Uh-oh. I mean, I guess that wouldn't be too shocking. Satya Nadella, he's been the CEO of Microsoft for a while now. But he's also, I don't know, man. He is kind of responsible for getting them to become like a multi-trillion-dollar corporation. But yeah, he's had a long run. So I could see with the, with the coming AI storm, maybe it's already here. I could see that happening. Anyway, all right, let's go over this video. MBG, look, man, yeah, it's fun to discuss and speculate on what could happen and all, but if Sony released the PS6 in 2027, I repeat, if they did that, they either want to fail or they want to lose money. What if they have something up their sleeve, tarnished? They got a secret ace up their sleeve. Like, oh, it's okay. Oh, yeah, you don't want a PS6? No big deal. Just make sure you check out the event we have. I don't know. Like, Tarnish, let me ask you, if Bloodborne Remake was a day one PS6 exclusive, would you get that? Like, would you go buy a PS6 day one? My internet broke. I don't know if you listened to the soundbite. I was asking what it was. Tarnish is like, day one buy. Day one buy. Bro. See? That's what I'm saying. Sony's got a little something for everybody. All the people who think it's going to be a failure. No, I'm just kidding. Not a failure, but if you're on the fence, Sony will probably have something. Oh my God, bro. Irfan, thank God I did not have my dude, it's such a good thing I didn't have my desktop audio on because that I've been hearing that all over. It's so annoying, bro. That rooster scream, please no. Please no. Wait, Whiskey, what doesn't make any sense? What about the PS6 launching in 2027? The RAM shortage. Well, some experts believe, and I don't think they actually know jack shit. I think they're just assuming that the RAM shortage might be like kind of taken care of by early 2027. Subbed and liked the stream. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Save $25 a week for the whole year and you'll have PS6 money for the next year. Start saving now. Yeah, I mean, honestly. Okay. On wanting it to fail or lose money. Well, I think the implication of Sony releasing the PlayStation 6, like going through with the 2027 launch and losing money, the implication there is that, like, of losing money, that comes from basically what you're seeing so many people say. And I think talk is cheap, dude. It's a lot cheap. I mean, it's the cheapest thing there is. I think talk is cheap. I think there are millions upon millions of people who are like, I don't need a PS6. I'm not going to buy a PS6. It's like, you say that now. You say that now because the PS6 isn't real. It's not being shoved in your face. You're not seeing the games. You're not seeing anything. Let's come back a year and a half from now and see if we still feel the same way. And I have a strong feeling that more than half, easily more than half of the people you see, basically saying like, I have no interest in a PS6. I think they'll very much have interest in a PS6 come July, August 2027. Well, that's the big thing, right? And we've talked about that. And I keep saying I'm going to bring Moore's Law's data up. I'm going to bring them up in just a moment. I know it's like more people are kind of coming in, so it might be good to just hold off for another minute or two. But the RAM shortage, I mean, the truth is, like, nobody really knows what's going to happen over the next year. The RAM shortage could be figured out and taken care of in the next couple months, or it could take 3 years for all we know. No one really knows. But you have to imagine at this point, Sony's devising a kind of backup plan of like, okay, well, we have to commit to the 2027 timeline. How do we prepare for, like, what can we do to prepare and devise like a longer term plan for the PS6 to overall make it a success and make it something that makes money? No company would willingly want a product launch to fail. Literally, shareholders would be walking the board to the chopping block. Yeah, I think it's a matter of like, so right before I bring this video clip up, here's what I'll say. I think if a PS6 delay is going to actually happen, it's going to be uncomfortably obvious and painfully obvious, where it's like Sony would it's just so universally understood that like this is the dumbest thing ever. Don't do it. Like, even if you just have to wait another year to sell it at a slightly cheaper price point, don't do it. Right? Whatever it takes. Unless, dude, I don't know, like, would Sony be willing to subsidize the cost of the PS up front in the beginning? Would Sony be willing to do it to ensure the PS6 gets off to a strong start? I don't know. They've done it before, but it's been a while since they've done it. They've gotten used to being able to make a bit of a profit on these consoles. Josh, you're saying I watched your news video and I think your FOMO statement is miscalculated. The PS6 will suffer if launched in 2027, and that will mark the beginning of the end for PlayStation hardware. Josh, that's a loaded statement, bro. The beginning of the end. Gasp. Kaz Jam with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. You're saying, honestly, Sony just hasn't done enough for me this gen to justify me running to buy a PS6. I ran to buy the PS5 because of how well they handled the PS4. Yeah, I need to figure this out. I see this comment more than any other comment with people, which I I don't know. I have to question, like, I guess my question would be, what would Sony have to do in the next 2 years, right? What would they have to do over the next 2 years to make you feel like the PS5 generation, like you're satiated? Like, I'm okay. That was great. I'm ready now to move on. I wonder about this because I don't like. I saw a comment earlier. I put this question out on Twitter where I was asking people, like, do you think 2026 is going to be the best year ever for PlayStation 5? Like the best year of the generation. And somebody left a comment. And they were like, considering there's been no good years, it should be. I'm like, what? Like, no good years, bro? There have been no good years? All right. I mean, dude, that's, I don't, to me, that's kind of crazy. Not crazy, but it's just, I don't agree with that assessment because I just don't feel that way even a little bit, bro. Like there have been some good years. There have also been some down years. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I think I think Sony has to they have to spice it up a little bit. They have to change it up perhaps. Maybe that's what people are looking for. Maybe that's where Wolverine comes in. That's where Intergalactic comes in. I think, maybe Corey Barlog's new game, things that are just different, and it's not more Horizon. It's not another God of War. It's something different, right? All right, yeah, I got to get to that video. I'm sorry. Petrov, a member for 6 months. Thank you for that. It says, shout out to you, MBG, 6 months of fun. Well, thank you, Petrov. I'm glad you've been enjoying the content. And shout out to all of my members. Shout out to my community. Appreciate what you guys do for me in the channel here. Wouldn't be possible without you. Maybe so, dude, Josh, maybe Sony will go crazy with the exclusives. Maybe that's what they'll do. All right, let me bring this video up. Hold on one sec. I'm going to put myself over here. I think I have it. Okay, yeah, I got it ready to go right here. And of course, it's not going to show up. I swear, man. Okay. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. It's glitching out and not. God, this. Why are there always so many issues, man? Why? Like, I'm not even frustrated at this point. I'm just disappointed. Like, why? Not a big deal. Just bear with me for a second. I appreciate you guys being patient. All right, let me see if this works. There we go. Okay. All right. So this again is Moore's Law is dead. He's had a lot of different PlayStation 6 leaks, and let's hear what he has to say.
I feel like I need to talk about this one because, much like the 9950 X3D2 memory controller question, this is something that I've seen spammed, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it has been all over the YouTube comment section while I was gone over break. And that is, will PS6 be delayed? All right. So, number one, I saw this report, briefly. I think it came from Tom Henderson. Tom Henderson has a pretty good track record. Frankly, if I may be so bold, I would say besides me, he's probably the only other person I'd say you could probably take pretty seriously with almost all of his leaks. I don't think he makes anything up. I think his track record speaks for itself. So, yeah, I took this seriously, seeing him talk about it versus some other, leaker. Having said that, reading his report, from what I can tell, what he said is people at Sony and Microsoft are worried about RAM shortages. Yeah. Yeah, man. Everyone is. Everyone's worried about RAM shortages right now. Um, of course, I don't need a source to tell you that. And outside of that, all I can tell you is the decision has not been made to delay any consoles. So it has not. 100%. Sony has not had a meeting where they said we're delaying the PS6. Nope, has not happened. Has Sony during meetings talked about the RAM crisis? Duh. Yes. Everyone who uses RAM in any product is having meetings about this right now. But what I've seen is that Sony has contracts with TSMC, so I should say Sony and AMD together have contracts with TSMC to manufacture the PlayStation 6 consoles mid 2027. That has not changed. That's when they make them. So it's up to Sony if they delay it, and they're not even making these until then. And remember, when they manufacture, and I'm specifically talking about the APUs, the AMD Canis and Orion APUs, if AMD uh, manufactures these mid 2027, that's I don't even know if Sony needs to make the decision about the RAM then, right? Because it's not those APUs are separate from the RAM Sony decides to go with. They can manufacture the APUs and then go, do we want to go with 24, 36, 40, 48 gigabytes RAM? What do we want to go with? That's kind of when they can make the decision. To my memory, the PlayStation 4 made its decision to go from 4 to 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know if I remember correctly, like the year it was being manufactured. And so Sony's not going to make this decision until about a year from now, I believe. And that is where they will look around and go, all right, our RAM price is coming down. Are they not coming down? If they are, we can go with whatever and launch. If they go, actually, things have gotten significantly worse, then, maybe we need to delay this until early 2028. And I don't think anyone's going to get that mad about it. We might as well do it then. But that decision has not been made by Sony yet. It has not been made by Microsoft yet. And of course, they're talking about the RAM shortages. Everyone and their mom is. Literally, my mom is at Christmas asking me about it. So I think calm down about the PlayStation 6 and Xbox Magnus delay stuff, because they won't have made the decision for a year. So there's no point in really speculating on this much. I mean, what if the AI bubble pops in 2 months? RAM prices go down. What if the opposite happens? This decision has not been made yet, and that RAM shortage or not, by the way, they don't make this decision until they would not have made this decision until the end of 2026, anyways, probably. So I just wanted to say that because a lot of people are curious about it. All right.
So, there was like one thing he said in here that really kind of stuck out to me, that I think is probably the most important thing when trying to understand what Sony is likely going to do with the PlayStation 6. It's when he talked about the fact that the contracts are already locked in between Sony and AMD with TSMC to produce the PS6 APUs. And he was saying that RAM can be like a last minute decision. And I did look it up and I did research after he said that. And it's true. Sony did not decide on the RAM that they wanted to have inside of the PlayStation 4 until right before they officially revealed it in February of 2013. So they still had a decent amount of time there. If production of the PS4 didn't happen, mass manufacturing, that is, didn't happen in earnest until probably like May or June or July even of 2013 for that November 2013 launch. It just goes to show that Sony can literally wait up until a few months before that happens, before they lock it in. And they changed it from 4 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes in February, right when they did their event. So I think that's kind of good to know in a sense that there's time. Sony doesn't have to make a decision now. But the big thing here, and this is the big one, is the fact that their APUs are locked in. This is why I said earlier, like, Sony could do something, and that something would be cancel their contracts. I don't know how. I mean, that would be devastating. God knows how expensive that would be, what kind of problems that would cause. It would probably tarnish their relationship with AMD and whatnot, and TSMC. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, that's not going to happen, especially because there's such a deep collaboration between Sony and AMD with Project Amethyst. So we just have to kind of accept that by May, June, July of 2027, the PlayStation 6 APU will be manufactured, and Sony will have probably millions of them. Well, maybe not, the relationships won't be lost, but it would be problematic. I think it would be hugely problematic. Maybe Sony could find a way out of it. I don't want to say it's impossible. It's just, I think it just causes I think it's like a nightmare situation, to be honest. I think it would be a nightmare situation for Sony to actually have to, like, basically, like, we got to redo this. you know, this whole process. I don't think Sony wants to do that. I don't think AMD would want to do that, and there's no denying that would lose them money. Like, that's the biggest thing, is that would, you want to talk about what would lose Sony money, that would lose them money. You know, but you know, some people might argue, hey, lose that money in the short term for long term safety, you know, but there's no guarantee for the long term either. That's kind of the problem here. So as of right now, where things stand is Sony has it locked in. They're manufacturing the APUs of the Canis and Orion APUs. And just so we're clear, those are the APUs for the PlayStation 6 home console and the PlayStation 6 handheld. They're going to be manufactured and produced by the mid next year. And that one guy, 509, that one guy, he's that one guy. He comes in, he drops a membership gift. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. What was your, that wasn't your original name though. What was, God, what was your original name? I recognize your Baltimore Ravens logo there. But that one guy, I appreciate it, bro. Tyson Webb. There we go. That's how I recognize you. I'm like, that's Tyson Webb, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you for being a long-time member. Thank you for dropping a member gift.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's the goal. Yeah, if you guys want to support the channel, consider becoming a member or dropping member gifts. It all helps. We're going to be doing some members content not too long from now. The reason why I think it's switched is because they're using like your tags now. YouTube has tags, or like your handles, not tags. They're using your handle now. Your handle is separate from your username, and YouTube has decided that's what they're using. So you can change it in your settings, but there's a chance that the one you want to use may already be taken, which is annoying. But thank you, Tyson. I do appreciate it, bro. All right, let me get this off the screen here. Whoop, wrong one. So yeah, I do think that when we talk about the possibility of the PlayStation 6 being delayed, I think the most common thing that I've seen from people is 2029, 2030. I've seen people like Mr. B in the chat and a few others talk about 2028 possibly being the perfect year for the PlayStation 6 to come out. But I do think that realistically speaking, Sony is going to go through with manufacturing those APUs. You know, maybe there's a chance they could delay that manufacturing process, but there would be really no point on that. It seems like the only thing that would actually be delayed is like, okay, we need to settle on RAM and how much RAM is going to be in each PlayStation 6 unit for the entire generation. They might try to push that back a little bit, but how far back they're willing to push that, we're not. If the APUs are produced, we're not looking at years. We're not looking at years. We're looking at maybe 12 months max, and I think that's pushing it. The idea that Sony would sit on PS6 APUs and hardware for a year, I mean, it could be great. Like, there would be a kind of benefit to that in the sense that an extra year for devs to prep their games, an extra year for Sony to puff up their launch lineup. And I think there actually is an argument to be made that maybe the best thing Sony could do is take an extra year in hopes that the RAM prices go down. If they don't, okay, they have to bite the bullet on that. It is what it is. But at least if the prices stay the same, unless they go up, which would be even worse, assuming the prices stay the same and don't go down, at least they can, like I said, take that extra time where it's like, actually, our launch window is we're gonna have double the amount of games now, and we're gonna have like double or triple the amount of games from third-party devs. That might, that might be the best way forward, because at that point, if they go beyond waiting a year, then you're getting into a year and a half. You're getting into 2 years, and by that point, it would have made more sense for Sony to redo the process and basically scrap, the APU designs or completely overhaul and change the APU designs. But yeah, man, again, those APUs, by the way, that's what Mark Cerny's been working on for like 4 or 5 years straight now, starting with the PS5 Pro. We have to keep in mind that every time a new console launches, the work and preparations for the next generation console begin pretty much immediately. So as soon as the PS5 launched, Mark Cerny and his engineering team were already, okay, what's the PS6 going to look like? They're working with AMD to find a roadmap, an internal roadmap. Where do we think the technology is going to be by 2026, 2027? Honestly, the more I think about it and the more I talk about it, it becomes clear that like they're not going to do that. Like they just can't do that. They're too deep into the process of developing the PlayStation 6 and the PlayStation 6 handheld, and their strategies are already mostly locked in how they want to, and how they want to present this and how they want this generation to go down. It does seem like pricing is going to be the biggest thorn in not just Sony's side, but I mean, I just saw that. Was it Asus? I think they're raising the prices on a bunch of stuff as well. So yeah, I think that it's a bit problematic for everybody, for the entire industry. Tarnish is saying, yeah, we understand that Sony has not delayed it internally yet, but they are considering it, as per Tom Henderson. So Moore's Law is Dead didn't say anything new or different. He's leeching off of others' reports. You think so? I know some people don't like Moore's Law is Dead. I don't have any problems with him. I think I appreciate the reporting he does. I think some people, I think he comes off as a bit, like some people maybe are like, oh, he's, like he's trying to like inflate himself too much. I don't really get that vibe from what I've seen, but then again, I'm not watching everything, so I don't know. I just know how people can be, people can make their judgments just based on very few things they've seen. People do that to me all the time, so I'm kind of sympathetic or empathetic to that. But what I appreciate is that Tom Henderson and Moore's Law is Dead, they're both putting out, I think, good information. Like this is stuff that, I want to know. And I'm grateful that they're both doing some research and trying to establish contacts and connections. They're both trying to do something. I appreciate that. Guys, by the way, make sure you're hitting that like button. I see we're almost at 75 likes. I really appreciate that. Let's see if we can bump that up to 100. It helps the streams more than you know. I've been seeing some new people join the streams and subscribing and chatting. So it's been working. Make sure you keep it up. And yeah, like I said, if you want to become a member, consider doing that. We will probably be doing a members lounge tomorrow or Wednesday. And I think you're going to want to tune into this members lounge. It's going to be I think it's going to be a fun one, or if not a fun one, an interesting one. An entertaining one, perhaps. So please look forward to that if you're a member. Some people said that Sony shouldn't launch the PS6 that soon because they just launched the PS5 Pro not that long ago, but not everyone bought a PS6. I think it would say bought a PS5 Pro. Some of us are skipping that and only own the standard PS5. Yeah. So in the video that I put out today, I was like saying people, I think when I said earlier in not even my video, but earlier in my stream, when I said that people are projecting their own fear of the FOMO, I think that's what they're doing, because I think most people know like they're going to cave to the PS6. No matter what. Like if the PS6 comes in 2027, there's people where they don't, like they'll tell themselves right now, I'm not buying it. Like, yes, you are. You know you are. We know you. Everybody knows you're buying it. And I think, it's one of these things where they kind of like want to put it on Sony, like in order to prevent me from buying the PS5. Yeah, if it's like $1,000, that's a different story. Tyson, you're saying I'm at 68 months as a paying member. Tyson, thank you so much for that, man. Thank you. That's incredible, dude. 68 months. I see you got that 5-year badge, bro. Thank you. Always appreciate that long-term support, my friend. Yeah, if it's $1,000, people might they'll get a second job. Sony's marketing. It's come full circle. I wonder if the recent jailbreak for the PS5 will speed up the release date for the PS6. I mean, you would think so. I have to look deeper into that. Yeah, that's a weird situation. If I'm being honest, I think that would. Well, maybe it wouldn't speed it up as much as you think, because the reality is, like I said, people who really are like, I want more time with my PS5, and this is something that I want to emphasize too. I've talked about it before, and I'll continue to talk about it as long as we're talking about the PlayStation 6, talking about release timelines. The big thing is when we talk about the FOMO, the fear of missing out, like, what exactly do you think you're going to be missing out on? And this is why I hyper focus on the conversation around exclusives, because the reality outside of Sony's first party games is every game is going to be cross gen for at least 3 to 4 years, and it'll probably be longer than that. And I'm not just talking like 70% of games. I'm not talking 80% of games. I'm talking 99.99% of all games will be cross-gen. And they will be built first and foremost for the PS5. To be clear, I think they're going to be built first and foremost for the PS5. Unless, maybe some of them do switch over to PS6 dev environment, to the PS6 dev environment. But if they do that, and they make that their main dev environment, it's still going to scale perfectly with the PS5. Because there's not going to be much difference. In terms of what developers will have access to, and like those development environments, are not going to be vastly different. I think the biggest difference in the development environment for the PS6 versus the PS5 is the PS6 is going to offer you technologies that are not available, like PSSR, for example, is available on the Pro, but not the base PS5. You're talking about the next gen technologies through Project Amethyst between Mark Cerny and AMD that they talked about, like the Radiance cores and stuff like that. This is all stuff that'll be there on the PS6 that I think Sony's going to want devs to use it, but it's like, is it going to make sense for them to leverage that technology if they know they're targeting the base PS5? And it's like, well, why don't they just target the PS6? Well, then it's like, okay, does it make sense for that development team and that developer making that game to forego the 100 million plus, what will be the 100 million plus install base of the base PS5, to limit themselves to a PS6 install base of ? And that's why I'm saying, like, you don't really have to think too hard about it to realize that this is the struggle that Sony's going to run into. So a theory I have, okay, I've had this theory for some time. The theory is you're going to see the PlayStation 6 handheld come out at around the same time as the PS6 home console. And what that's ultimately going to do, because we have to think about, okay, what can the PlayStation 6 handheld do? What is it capable of? Everything we understand about the APU and the specifications of the PlayStation 6 handheld is it will, for all intents and purposes, be a portable PS5. Like, you will technically see PS6 games on there, but in terms of like the visuals and what types of games, basically, if you take a game like Demon Souls right now, a PS5 remake, Demon Souls, or Days Gone, and you put it on this PlayStation 6 handheld, it's going to run it at probably 1080p, maybe 1440p, but I don't think that that'll be necessary, at anywhere between 30 and 60 frames per second. And most games are probably going to be 30 frames. If we're being real, most games are probably going to be 30. Or, I guess if I'm saying it's going to be the equivalent of a PS5, I guess a lot of them could be 60. But what I'm saying is, when developers are making their games for next gen, they're also going to be targeting this PlayStation 6 handheld. And so when we talk about exclusivity, well, I don't know, man. That's going to be a really strange predicament that Sony kind of puts their development teams in, or puts themselves into, where it's like, okay, you could do a Bloodborne remake, or let's say like a God of War 1 remake. I think that might be what Bluepoint's working on. And you're targeting the PlayStation 6, and you're going to take advantage of all the bells and whistles of the PS6, but you're also going to be targeting the PlayStation handheld. So you're going to have to scale down to that handheld. And here's the important part. If you're scaling down to that handheld, that is ultimately the equivalent of a portable, it is equivalent of a PS5, a base PS5, maybe a little bit less. I think it's like 75% of a PS5. then why would you not put it on PS5? If you're already scaling it down, why would you not? Yeah, there's a next gen PlayStation handheld. Yeah. Yeah, I think some people still don't know about it, but the entire APU for it leaked out. It's called Project Canis, I think. And it's a dedicated handheld, man. It's going to be dockable, apparently. To put it simply, MVG, if any PS6 game runs on the portable PS6, then that game will also come to PS5 since it's weaker. Well, yeah. But here's the potential wild card in all of this. The potential wild card, I believe, is, well, we're talking about these next generation PlayStation / AMD technologies that they're developing in tandem with one another. We heard Mark Cerny talk about this, as well as the lead engineer. I forget his name, but the lead engineer at AMD. They literally put out like a 9-minute video talking about, and I forget the name of all these technologies. I know like Radiance Cores is like the one I remember, but there's like all these different technologies. And the whole idea, from what I understand, is it's just like these technologies are essentially there to take the load off of the hardware, right? So basically, we could give you, like when we see the PS6 specifications, people are like, well, that doesn't seem that great. Yeah, like PSSR. It's exactly like, it's like, okay, well, the specs inside the PS6 are good, but they don't seem like a next gen leap. And it's because, oh, well, don't worry. It's because all these technologies that will be available in the development environment for the PlayStation 6 and the PlayStation 6 handheld, these are technologies that are not available on either the PS5 Pro or the PS5. But that's the thing, is like, even Mark Cerny himself says, I'm excited to get these technologies into the hands of developers because we got to see what they can do. And this all hinges on what developers want to do and what the market wants developers to do. It all hinges on this, man. And there's no guarantee that everything that Sony's doing right now with these these amethyst technologies and the grand vision they have for the PS6 and the PS6 handheld and how it's going to move things forward. There's no guarantee that will happen. But that's why I'm saying, like, worst case scenario is the PS6 gets off to a slow start, and there's basically 4 pieces of hardware, which is a lot, but there's 4 pieces of hardware that are supported simultaneously throughout the bulk of the PS6 generation, starting in 2027, base PS5, PS5 Pro, PlayStation 6, PlayStation 6 handheld. And there will be very few games that are not going to be on all of those devices. I do really question what Sony's first-party teams are going to do, though, because like I said, I mentioned God of War 1 Remake. You could imagine that Sony would want to purposely make that a PS6 exclusive to incentivize people, where it's like, don't you guys want that God of War Remake? PS6 only, right? Hype, FOMO, buy the console. Yeah, that would absolutely work. That would absolutely make people go, holy shit, I need to buy that right now. But, would Sony be sacrificing software sales in the name of trying to, push people over to hardware sales? Yeah, they've done this. That's the name of the game. That's been the name of the game for every generation. To think that they would stop that suddenly with the PS6 does seem a bit far-fetched, but at the same time, if we're talking about, again, like, and this is where the pricing always comes in every time we talk about the PS6, and I know it's been a bit redundant, but it's just what's been making the headlines. If the price of the PS6 is like $700 at launch, it's like, yeah, you're going to need this to be on PS5. Like, no question about it. Doesn't matter how exciting a God of War 1 from the ground up remake is. Neural arrays, radiance cores, and universal compression. Thank you. Thank you, Perfect Image. Perfect Image is like, I was paying attention, bro. I got it. I was paying attention. Yeah, I think that devs will want to use these technologies because everything that we've been hearing about them, it's going to make game dev a lot easier. It's going to make game dev a lot easier. It's going to make it much more streamlined. And I do wonder if maybe the question I have about these technologies is like, how do I word this? So, well, I guess we could, yeah, I saw somebody mention like Spider-Man 3 possibly getting held back. Let's take Spider-Man 3. Let's say Spider-Man 3 is like a 2028 game. Um, the assumption is that Insomniac Games is going to target the PlayStation 6, obviously, with Spider-Man 3. And then knowing Insomniac, they like to be at the forefront and the cutting edge of using the latest technologies, especially with what PlayStation's offering. Let's say they're going to use all these different, they're going to use the neural arrays, they're going to use Radiance cores and universal compression and PSSR 3.0 and all this stuff for Spider-Man 3. My question is, what does that do fundamentally to the game? Does it change the fundamental design philosophy of what Spider-Man 3 is as a game? Because if not, then the question needs to be asked, like, what purpose exactly are these technologies going to serve for that game? Because if it doesn't change the game fundamentally, then the assumption at that point is, well, it can run on the PS5. Because it's I don't know if I'm explaining this right. I'm probably doing a terrible job at it, but it's kind of like, it's like, when we talked about the PS5 generation and when we were hearing about the SSD and the speed and the input speed of the PS5, we were imagining, and Mark certainly talked about this as well, like this will allow game designers and game developers to fundamentally approach game design differently, where they will be able to do things that were not possible before. And we have yet, did he just confuse himself? Probably. But we have yet to see that. Like, I don't know, man. It's over my head. Mark Cerny would probably be able to answer this question to a degree that I wouldn't be able to fully understand it. But I guess I'm just trying to ask, like, if GTA 6 is possible on the PS5, then what the hell else can any other developer offer to go beyond that, to say we're pushing past the limits of the PS5? If something like GTA 6 can run on the PS5. Do you get what I'm saying? Hopefully that helps, like, make it make more sense. Where, like, I don't. Yeah, well, you're saying you can create more complex worlds and better AI and animations on a hypothetical PS6 game than the PS5 could ever do. Well, that's where it's like, I guess, yeah, it would be like, hey, Rockstar, what could you do with GTA 6 if you decided to skip the PS5 and just make it PS6 only? Like, what craziness could you pull off then? And I guess maybe that is something that, what we're really kind of acknowledging right now is the natural slower transition to, well, games take longer to develop. These games need to sell to large audiences. They need to have big player bases. And I think we're just kind of acknowledging the reality that, well, at least from my perspective, and I know some PlayStation fans completely disagree with this on my part, but it just starts to make me think, like, yeah, I don't think there really needs to, like, any game that's going to be PlayStation 6 exclusive, I think is purposely being made an exclusive just to sell the hardware, not because it's actually going to be doing something that's like, this isn't possible. It's like, it's running on the PS6 handheld. We know it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, we know it's possible on the PS5. Let's see here. Game devs are too scared to try new mechanics and over rely on fancy graphics and story. I mean, I think there's some level of truth to that. There's like a kind of, well, we have to play it safe. The budget of some of these games is so ridiculously high. That's like, we need this to work. And we have Whiskey Gaming, longtime member for 58 months. Thank you, Whiskey. At Play Has No Limits Plus, he says, the question is, can the new tools lower development costs enough to offset the need for insanely high software sales to make a profit? That makes it easier to justify making a game exclusive to move hardware. That's actually a great point, Whiskey. That's very well said. And I do agree with that, right? Like, if the sole purpose of these tools, it's like the purpose of these tools is not to like necessarily create. I mean, it sounds shitty to say this, but to lead to mass innovation in game design. It's actually to save money. It's to save time. It's to save on like, hey, you don't have to spend X amount of months locking this in and refining it and figuring this out because this new next gen AMD technology just kind of boom, it does it rapidly for you, or it just makes it that much easier for the devs to wrap their head around it. And yeah, that saving time, money, and resource in AAA game dev at this point in time might be the most important. That might be way more important than even like trying to innovate fundamentally on game design, because maybe it really is just like, yeah, leave the fundamental game design changes and elevations to teams like Rockstar and maybe CD Projekt Red, teams where they have the not to say that Sony doesn't have the capital, but these teams don't need to sell consoles, right? It is Sony's job to sell consoles. And you do think just naturally, okay, well, like what's one of the easiest ways you could sell consoles? Let's make games exclusive for it. But Sony also is putting so much money into their games that's like, well, we still need these games to sell well too. So it's a great question, Whiskey Gaming, and I think it's the one that maybe Mark Cerny probably won't word it that way. He won't word it that way because it sounds, I think some people are not going to like the way that sounds, but there's probably a lot of truth there. Most of these technologies are like, okay, because think about it. Mark Cerny is all about what did the devs want, and I think at this point that is what the devs want. I want to cut the costs of how much it, not just how much money that has to go into this game, but the timeline as well. Like can we make these games? It's not to say that we need more games, right? I mean, some people say we need more games. There's more games than ever before, but it's like for the bigger, more exciting games that people kind of start to lose their minds over because it's like you're waiting 5, 6, 7 years. What if you only had to wait 3 years, 3.5 years, but with almost no compromises or very, very few compromises? That could be, in a sense, innovating for the for the current AAA landscape. That would be a certain type of innovation. And we have Doc Zarkan Blitzer. He's back. He says, MBG live on my TV, looking good on my OLED. No 4K option on PS5. MBG didn't. You say you upgraded to the 4K cam. Nice to see I got the MBG Platinum. Yeah, so the thing about that, Doc Zarkan, is I've tried to stream. I have a 4K capable camera. It locks at 30 frames. I don't know if you noticed, but I stream at 60. So I would have to cut the frames in half. But the worst part about it is the only way I can stream in 4K, at least on YouTube, is I have to put it on normal latency, which doesn't sound bad, but I always stream at ultra low latency. And streaming at ultra low latency makes it so that we can have the least amount of latency between the discussion I'm having with the chat. Where, you're not typing something in the chat and then I don't see it pop up for like 20 to 30 seconds. I probably see it within like 5 to 10 seconds at most. And unfortunately, I can't do that as of right now, unless they change it in the future, which they might. I can't stream at 4K without compromising that. And so it's kind of this trade-off where it's like, do I want to offer the highest visual I want to say quality because people appreciate 60 frames probably more than 4K 30, but like the crispest, resolution. Yeah, no, that's for sure. 1080p on a large 4K TV can look kind of soft. Absolutely. So yeah, sorry, Doc Zarkan. You're gonna have to settle for 1080p MBG. That rhymes. I love it. Josh says, just want you to know, MBG, I'm not worried of being wrong in the PS6 launches in 2026. I'm just talking to you about what I think is best for PS6. I'm not making a prediction with the delay. Oh, yeah, no, dude. Josh, I think you meant 2027. I'm right there with you, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's best. I mean, there's a part of me that does think, like, dude, maybe Sony would make a fucking huge mistake committing to a 2027 launch. Like maybe it's going to be like this shit is going to hit the fan, bro. Like you want to find out how few people actually want a PS6 right now. You're going to find out. It could be that. But I still I do hold on to this idea that if Sony can, I think it's a matter, yeah, you're watching me in performance mode, bro. I think it's a matter of like, if they can align the stars in just a way, and the execution on it has to be perfect though. Like, is it possible for Sony to, so like when we saw the PS5 Pro, right? The PS5 Pro, there were two things that people lost their mind about with it. And those two things were, number one, the price. People almost fell out of their chairs when they saw it was $700. Keep in mind, when that PS5 Pro price was revealed, it was before all this shit started happening. So it was much more shocking at that time, where it's like, bro, what? You look at a $700 device coming out now, it just feels less shocking because you see how high the prices are for everything else now. How they're rising and they're rising and they're rising, right? So there was that. The second thing, though, and I think this is the bigger one, is the people who tuned in to that PS5 Pro event. And, you know, I like the PS5 Pro. You guys know this. I enjoy it's right over there. I enjoy it every time I play it. I feel it was more than worth my purchase. But even I understand that, like, when you go back and you watch that event, people were like, Sony, what are you showing me right now? Like, when they zoomed in and the Spider-Man thing is like a tree, and it's like one's on the PS5, one's on the PS5 Pro, and people are like, they're the same fucking image, dude. Like, it's the same thing. I think one of the reasons why Sony actually went through with releasing the PS5 Pro and doing that little event is because they had to figure out, like, how are people going to react to this? Where when we show them, like, there is a difference, but it's a smaller difference. It's going to be harder to notice. How are you going to react with a higher price point? And the reaction was mostly negative. People were like, bro, what am I even looking at? And even I, as, again, somebody who bought it, I do see a difference with a lot of games. And I've enjoyed my time with the PS5 Pro. Even because I watch that footage sometimes when I'm editing my videos and I use B-roll footage. And I look back and I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, it was pretty rough. Like, you could barely see a difference at all with anything they were showing. This is where, like, if Sony can correct that right there, and just think of it. Let me back up. Back up a second here. I want you to think about the PS5 Pro event, right? And I want you to imagine for just a moment, when Mark Cerny was showing all these games running on the PS5 Pro, he wasn't showing you The Last of Us Part 2. He wasn't showing you Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. He wasn't showing you Demon Souls. He wasn't showing you Spider-Man 2. He wasn't showing you Horizon Forbidden West. I want you to imagine instead he was showing you new games. I mean, brand new games from first and third party developers. Instead of Spider-Man 2, it's Wolverine. Or in this case, it'd be Spider-Man 3 or Venom. Okay, here's Venom on the PS5 Pro. We're showing you Cory Barlog's new game running on the PS5 Pro. We're showing you maybe, hell, even GTA 6 running on the PS5 Pro. We're showing you Resident Evil 9 running on the PS5 Pro. How do you think people would have walked away from that PS5 Pro event feeling? Even with the $700 price point, how do you think they would have walked away feeling? It's safe to say that not everybody would have been won over. It's safe to say that a lot of people would have looked at those games and said, but I can still play them on my PS5, right? Be like, yeah, like, okay, great. I don't care about the Pro. They still would have walked away being like, that was a great show. That was awesome. However, millions of people would have said, I need that fucking Pro. I need that Pro. I don't even care if it's on the base PS5. Look at those new games. I need the Pro. What I'm describing to you is the PlayStation 6 event that's coming. And this is why I try to say to people, like, do not underestimate the hype machine, bro. We need to understand Sony hasn't given a shit. They haven't given a shit about hype in like the last 3 years, bro. The last time Sony tried to give a shit about the hype, I mean, Sony, like as a whole, like we are putting everything we got into this. The last time they tried to give a shit about the hype was the showcase of May 2023, and that was Jim Ryan's last showcase, and it was like, there ain't no hype here, bro. I don't know what you thought was hype about. There ain't no hype here. There's like an ounce of hype, and they backed off. And we also need to understand that we are watching a Sony PlayStation who's able to fucking market Halo remake, bro, coming to the PS5. Jake, you're saying, did you read the 2 emails I sent last time? And how's Mississippi? Did you do it? Yeah, I caught those emails. I'm sorry, Jake. Sometimes I missed it. My emails flooded. It's crazy. I miss a lot of them, but I did catch the last 2 you sent. And she's doing okay. We're both a little bit under the weather. I don't know if it seems like it or not, but I definitely am. Like my throat's sore and sinuses, but yeah, Tarnished, I'm curious to see how Sony handles that as well, man. Is that PS6 handheld going to hold things back? I think it's going to be different from the Series S. I do. Based off of my understanding of the RDNA 5 technology, it should, theoretically, we won't know till it's out here. On paper, it should be different. So we'll see, but I'm just trying to say that, like, the PS6 reveal is not, I'm assuming it's not happening this year. That'd be crazy. I think it would be happening next year. But I just think it's like when we talk about this idea of a delay, it's like if Sony, listen, if you ran into Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst, okay, and it's like, all right, let's just say you could be a fly on the wall. You could be a fly on the wall at a meeting with Herman Hulst and Hideaki Nishino, and what they're doing in that meeting is you basically walk out of that meeting, here's everything we're going to have for the PS6 within the launch window of like 12 to 16 months. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, like, if you could be that fly on the wall and know, you'd be like, dude, I want that PS6 right fucking now. I don't even care if it's the same thing as a PS5. I want it right now. Like, that's how people are going to act. They are, because, I mean, don't get me wrong. The one caveat here, and this is a pretty big one, is if by the time we get to like holiday 2027 going into 2028, if the economy, and I'm just really speaking about the US here, but I know that there's a lot of different economies that are having a struggle, but if the economy gets significantly worse, that to me is what could derail everything. Not even the price of RAM, not an expensive. I think what would derail everything is like, I want it. I literally can't afford it. Like I cannot. I do not have the money. Sony, you can't get blood from a stone. You know what I mean? If the economy's so bad that it's just, bro, it doesn't matter how hype you make people, they don't have the money. They don't even have anything to sell to make the money. If that's what we're looking at, that could that more than anything, I think, could fuck the PS6 bad. And worst of all is that I don't even think that's not even a timeline thing. It doesn't matter if that's 2027. It doesn't matter if that's 2029. It's like if people just don't have money, bro, then it doesn't matter. And Doc Zarkan, I'm sorry, bro. I almost missed your super chat. You're saying, MBG, when you live stream the CES Sony press conference show, are you going to pre-show? Are you going to do a pre-show prediction 30 minutes before? Also, I want to see the new Sony TVs. Dude, Doc Zarkan, I don't know if I might stream it. Dude, I was looking into it. I was doing some research on it today. I don't think they're showing anything, man. They're not even doing a normal, press conference for their TVs or their gaming division or anything. They haven't announced it yet. Maybe they'll announce it today or tomorrow, but the only thing that they're doing is a joint press conference with Honda for their cars. And I'm so nervous about streaming this because it's at such a strange time for me. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle like sitting there and watching a press conference about a Sony car, bro. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that. But assuming I do stream it, Zanarkand, if if I do stream it, I'll probably go live. Yeah, at least 30 minutes early to hang out and prepare. But I'm not sure, man. It seems like it's going to be a pretty The car has a PS5 inside it though. Yo, are they going to count every car as a PS5 sale? Bro. What? Dude, that's funny as shit. I didn't even think about that. How are they going to do that? If you're moving on to the PS6, why would you put a PS5 in the car? What if there's secretly PS6s in the cars, bro? Yo. No. What if the PS5 that's built into the car is actually the handheld? But they won't tell you. Oh yeah, it's a PS5. It's actually the PS6 handheld hardware. No, Tarnish, they're going to kill the PlayStation brand. How dare you, Sony? How could you kill the PlayStation brand? Put the clown hat on while you stream it. Hell yeah, bro. Clown BG. Yeah, I know. Dude, Zanarkhan, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, Sony seems to be having the least amount of presence, like the least significant presence they've had at CES as long as I've been watching it and following it. And I'm like, I don't know what's up with that. Go to Las Vegas and stream it. Oh yeah, for sure, bro. There will be a PS4 in the car. Yeah, so it turns out that we had to cut costs somewhere. Listen, this car is going to be... How much... Dude, did they even say how much the car is going to be? I got to get that Sony car. That's going to be my next donation goal. Direct donation goal, enough to buy the Sony car. And then I'll start streaming from my Sony car. Though. Not the worst idea. Oh, my God. Okay, yeah, we're going to need a lot of donations. It's almost 90 grand. Oh, man. I'm going to live in my Sony car, actually. I'll buy the Sony car, I'm going to stream from it, and I'm going to live in it. It's my new life, guys. When going full Sony pony goes wrong. 102K, almost 103K, depending on the trim option and options. Jeez. Yo, you want that PS5 built in, that's going to be another 10K, bro. Damn, the profit margins on those PS5s going into the Afila cars. What is this, propaganda? It's still so crazy to me that they're doing it, that they're just making cars. They're so expensive, though. MBG, did you hear that Luke Stevens is starting a new gaming show launching on January 8th? Saying 3 big games will show up? What? No. Is he launching it like on his YouTube channel? He's doing a whole show? Like an actual gaming event show. And PlayStation Pete. Bro, PlayStation Pete coming in with a $100 super chat.
Holy shit.
PlayStation Pete, my man. He says in all caps, I don't know what will happen to me as far as work or how much I will lose in my divorce, but I wanted to give you a late gift for you and your family. God bless. Bro, PlayStation Pete. PlayStation Pete, man, you're breaking my heart here, man. That's too kind. That is too kind. Seriously, I'm in shock that you did that, bro. Pete's like, yo, I want you to get that PlayStation car. That's so sad, man. I'm so sorry to hear about that, man. Yeah, we've been kind of keeping tabs, or you've been keeping us updated, I should say, with what's been going on. I hope things go. I hope it works out as best it can, bro. I've been telling everybody I want 2026 to be a better year. I want it to be a good year. I want it to be something that's not perfect. No year is going to be perfect, but something that's just a little bit better. And it sounds like it's starting out pretty rough for you, man. But that's super generous of you, really. I sincerely appreciate that, man. You did not have to do that, but it if anything, it's a testament to what I constantly say about the community here in that we have, and I'm not, look, man, I'm not being facetious about this. Like, we have some of the kindest, most generous, good people that I've ever encountered. Like, I sincerely sit here sometimes and I think to myself, man, what did I do to deserve such an awesome community, you know? And so PlayStation Pete, once again, just an absolute beast out here. And you know, it's funny, man, because we were just talking about I know this is a little bit of an aside from your actual super chat, but I remember you came to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. If memory serves, you did get the platinum for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and we made a really big deal about that. I think you and Josh Z are the two people on my channel, the two community members that actually got the platinum for that game, and it was a big one, man. And I guess I'm just mentioning this because it's funny you show up. The other day, I think it was the last stream, we were talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that's one of the things we were talking about extensively. And I remembered, I'm like, PlayStation Pete, that guy's serious with his platinum hunting and his trophy hunting. He got that. Him and Josh Z, bro. So you have my respect, PlayStation Pete. And I hope things work out for you, buddy. I really do. At the very least, listen, at the very least, I hope, PlayStation Pete, that you can get some good platinums this year. You can get some good gaming. And you can eat good this year when it comes to gaming and trophy hunting. So we wish you the best of luck, brother, and thank you for being a supporter. And again, thank you so much. I'm sorry if I'm going on and on, but it's just, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Yo, Jimmy Mack says, I'm not getting married. Being single is great. Hey, to each their own. To each their own, you know? People get divorced for all types of reasons, you know, and who am I to judge? I don't know. I'm not going to judge anybody. I don't know anything. You know, I have my own life and I got to worry about my own affairs. You know what I'm saying? But Carl's like, same here. Yo, got a bunch of dudes in here like, forget marriage. Who needs marriage? I'm going to marry my PS5. That's what you're going to do, isn't it, Carl? Yeah, I see you, bro. I see you. Carl's like, life is one big problem. You know, it's not making my PS5 my significant other. Whoa, Irfan, bro, we're not going to go there. We just leave that. There's just some things you don't say out loud. There's some things you don't type. Intrusive thoughts, bro. That's crazy. You guys are crazy. This is MBG's watching what you say. Be careful. Nah, Mrs. MBG's cool. We're cool. We're cool. Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure PlayStation Pete will provide us with updates in the future. We're wishing him the best. We're rooting for him. Relationships are hard. They absolutely. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, man. It's just not. That's not a realistic depiction. Not 24/7 anyway. What is this? Oh, dude. Jake, I got the email I can't watch that yet. I haven't beaten Rebirth yet. I got halfway through. Rebirth and I didn't finish it. I'm gonna replay Rebirth. Not platinum it though. Not getting that platinum. I'm gonna replay it when we find out the release date of the third game. And a couple months before the third game comes out, I'll replay it. Well, when I say replay it, I will replay it and actually finish it this time. Yeah, Lady Gamer, I'm sorry to hear that. It's devastating. Very sad, but you're staying strong. That's what's important. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I'd probably feel the same way. Perfect Image, you're saying I've been with my lady for 15 years or more. I lost count, but communication is the key. Perfect Image about to get beat. You lost count, huh? You lost count? You don't even know? How are you going to communicate yourself out of this one? Perfect image. Irfan says, I'm single for now. Irfan's been trying to give us hints about what he's going to do to his PS5, bro. And I ain't liking it. I want nothing to do with it. Irfan, we never had this conversation. This wasn't even a thing. All right. We gotta get back on track here. He's gonna marry AI, not the PS6. The AI inside the PS6. Bro, that is gonna be crazy to think about that. Like in the next few years, there's probably gonna be like androids with really advanced AI that it's like, meet my girlfriend. You know, okay, I guess. Oh man. Oh man. Yo, hold on, who was that? Yo, hot shot. I'm watching you, bro. I gotta watch this guy. I'm worried about this man. All right. We have Kevin Thomas with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, MBG, which game do you think will have better gameplay, Intergalactic or GTA 6? I'm thinking Intergalactic. That's bait. Kevin, stop baiting me. Why, how could you bait? How could you bait? Kevin's been watching my last couple of streams. He's like, I know how to spice it up. All right. So, Kevin, my answer to that question is I do believe GTA 6 will have the better gameplay. But that's not to say Intergalactic won't also have good gameplay. I do think that people, and I know I've been pretty critical of Naughty Dog. I think people had this idea that like I'm rooting against Intergalactic, and I'm really not. It kind of reminds me of like Marathon a little bit. Not exactly the same, but how people think I've been much more harsh on Bungie though, so that's more understandable. I don't want Marathon to fail. I don't want a game like Intergalactic to fail because the thing is, in my opinion, the only way these games can fail is if they're bad games. Like, I mean, not games that I don't enjoy because it's just I'm not into them, but I mean just actual like bad games. And games that are underwhelming and games that fail to delight gamers around the world. And I don't think that will be Intergalactic. I do think the gameplay of Intergalactic has the chance to be, it's going to be tough because the gameplay of The Last of Us 1 and 2 is very, very good. But it has the chance, depending on how much they shake things up and how different of a gameplay experience they want to have. It could be the best game, gameplay-wise, that Naughty Dog ever puts out. However, GTA 6, in my humble opinion, is a different beast entirely. GTA 6 is a game that cannot really be stacked up against anything. And if I'm being completely brutally honest, I think trying to stack GTA up against Intergalactic is totally unfair. There's not another game out there that like, it's like, oh, what about GTA 6 and Wolverine? It's like not fair. What about GTA 6 and Saros or Resident Evil 9 or Crimson Desert? It's like, it's just none of that. It's just GTA 6 is truly, in my, again, humble opinion, without glazing it too much here, it's in a league of its own. And I don't think it can really be compared to anything. The only other game you could probably put it up against that would be fair is Red Dead 2. And so my answer to that question, as unexciting as it might be, is I think GTA 6 will have the better gameplay by a good margin. But I think the gameplay of Intergalactic will probably be very, very good as well, like top tier. If Naughty Dog nails it, that's why I'm so interested to see Intergalactic gameplay. But thank you for the super chat. We also have Doc Zarkand once again saying, MBG, ask PlayStation Pete how hard it was to get the FF7 Rebirth Platinum. I'm afraid of attempting it. I may skip it, man. Well, PlayStation Pete, if you're still here and you're able to engage, I don't know if you'll be able to engage with the chat or not, but if you are still here, Zanarkand, he's sweating, man. He's sweating. He wants to know, is it possible? How difficult is it? How difficult are we talking? You just realized it was Sunday today? When is GTA 6 or when is GTA gameplay? When has it been groundbreaking? I mean, I think it's always been a little bit groundbreaking. Maybe except for like the original, like I can't speak to the first two games, but GTA 3 was absolutely groundbreaking. There's nothing like it. I think after that, San Andreas was also considered groundbreaking in the sense of like it's doing so many different things on a scale that games at that time just weren't even thinking about. And I think GTA 4 and 5, I think were also up there. Maybe not as quite as impactful, but I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm curious to see when GTA 6 comes out if it turns out that it's like, yeah, you overglazed that game, bro. Like you overinflated it. That's true. Wolverine, you're saying God of War beat Red Dead 2 out for Game of the Year. That is true. That is true, and that's kind of shocking. I still find that shocking. I still think it was deserved, though. I do, and I'm not, maybe that's a fanboy take, but I was like, dude, God of War. It's funny. I have a video on my channel that's got like, it's got a lot of views. I don't know. It's like over 100,000 views or something, where I remember I was talking about why God of War beat Red Dead 2 for Game of the Year. And that was an interesting video. You got a lot of people talking, that's for sure. But yes, Narcan, if you're thinking about going for the platinum for Rebirth, bro, my recommendation would be read the platinum guide from Power Picks. They'll help you get a really good idea of just how difficult it will be. Maybe find a couple YouTube videos. Hopefully, anybody in the community who has experience with it, they'll be able to give you an idea. But yeah, bro, it's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be brutal, my friend. I heard it. Like, keep in mind, Zanarkand, that this platinum is so difficult that the director even apologized, saying, "We won't do that again. We're so sorry." And we have a $20 direct donation from Titus. Titus, bro, thank you so much for that, man. You came in here not too long ago, I think, and dropped a direct donation. So I really appreciate that, bro. And you're saying, MBG, did you see the top 20 most anticipated games of 2026 of the Push Square community? Wolverine is first place and beat GTA 6. Fanboys. Every one of them, they're all fanboys, bro. No, I actually didn't see this, Titus. I saw the article, but I didn't actually click on it. I didn't look into like which games were ranking where, but I mean, I get it. Like, GTA 6 is my most anticipated game, Titus, and there's not a game, real or imagined, that could I have to say probably, because I guess if I really imagine hard enough, and if we're living in Fantasyland, I'm sure I could think of a game. But as far as I'm concerned, nothing can top GTA 6 for me. However, Wolverine is very, very close. Again, it's one of these things where if this is GTA 6, Wolverine is like right there. It's right there with it. I have to be honest with myself in that, like, I think GTA 6, I think Wolverine is going to be an amazing game that by the time I'm done playing it, I'm like, this is one of the best games I've played this generation, and certainly of the year. But I think the feeling I'm going to have when playing GTA 6 is going to be something entirely different. I think, again, this is where it feels so impossible to compare GTA 6 to anybody, because my expectation with GTA 6 is I'm going to play it and I'm going to be like, I've never like that. Like I expect to be, and I don't use this word lightly, elated. I expect to be elated. Like I'm going to experience elation of like, I'm like, this is just so, I'm so enthralled and in awe. Like, you know how we use the word awesome? We use the word awesome like pretty haphazardly. Like we just throw that word around. Everything's awesome. But if you really look at the definition of the word awesome and like just how significant something has to be awesome, like I think GTA 6 will actually be, it'll fit that definition without any level of exaggeration, that it will be awesome. It will leave you in awe. And listen, I could be wrong. And yeah, I can't help it. My expectation for GTA 6, I think maybe it is unrealistically high, but I don't know, man. I still study those screenshots that they put out, and I'm like, dude, this is fucking nuts. I think what's going to be special about GTA 6 is it's not going to be like, we invented this crazy gameplay mechanic that's going to blow your mind and that you've never seen before. It's not going to do anything that, in terms of like gameplay design, that hasn't been done before. I think what GTA 6 is going to do that's going to blow people away is, it's like, if you want to experience a world that is so convincingly real, it has a level of detail that will not be touched by another game for at least another 10 to 15 years. That's what this game's going to do. And you want to see AI. When we talk about the realism, you want to see AI. I think that's what it's going to do. It's all going to come together. And let me see here. Oh, hold on. My chat is breaking down here. What is happening? Hold on. I think there we go. It crashed. I have another super chat from where are we at here? I'm sorry. From Kevin Thomas. He says Rockstar is horrible when it comes to movement and shooting and outdated mission structure. Well, that's what's going to be really interesting to see about GTA 6 is I do agree that Rockstar, because they go for realism. You talk about the horrible movement. A lot of people don't like how animation heavy a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 is, or GTA 5. Like, they go for this realism where everything's so animation heavy, and it's all done in an attempt to add to the realism. And I understand why people don't like it. And I do agree where, like, when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, the mission structure, and that'll be interesting to see if they change that in any significant way, in terms of overall gameplay design and mission structure, if they basically took the feedback and they're like, we're going to do things a little bit different. I would love to see that, but yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting if by the end of the day, like, GTA 6, it is this mind-blowing game that's like, there's nothing quite like it, but in terms of like the actual gameplay structure, not much has changed. That would be just a tad bit disappointing. I would like to see, like, my hope is that the entire package that is GTA 6 is something that, while I said a moment ago that I don't expect it to be like we're revolutionizing gameplay mechanics, I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting hopefully a refinement of gameplay mechanics and something that is like, yeah, the game feels better to play than GTA 5 significantly. But yeah, it would be interesting if it's like the mission design and the mission structure. It's like, well, this is GTA through and through. It's in RDR2, the snap to aiming makes shooting boring, but turning it off makes it much harder to aim, I found. Yeah, I do think that That's one of the things I remember with Red Dead 2 and GTA 5, where I always felt like, and this is so crazy because these are the same people who made Max Payne 3, like the best feeling shooter ever made, third person shooter, that is. I always felt like the shooting mechanics in Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 were on the weaker side. And like, you definitely would not play this game as a shooter. You know, it's not, it's meant, any shooting you're doing in this game is meant to feel auxiliary and not primary. And I do hope when we see GTA 6 or when we see the first gameplay that it has, they wouldn't be able to do like Max Payne. I don't know, man. Like, the thing about Max Payne 3, knowing Rockstar made that game, the thing about Max Payne 3 is it's fluid. It's so fluid, man. And I'm not saying it would make sense where it's like, here's GTA 6 and everybody's jumping around like they're Max Payne, like jumping to the right, jumping to the left, doing, you know, double you know, or akimbo back dive Uzi shots. You know, like, I don't think it would need to be that, but maybe when you look at the way Max Payne moved in the game, the way he moved in and out of cover, how smoothly he picked up weapons and dropped weapons and could, like, you know, he had like this 360-degree rotation that felt, and, you know, it didn't feel jarring. It didn't feel like I mean, it was unrealistic in a sense when he was jumping around and stuff, but the overall movement did not feel unrealistic in my opinion. So if they could find that perfect blend, I mean, geez, man, that would, at that point, that almost might be too much. But yeah, will GTA 6 have a first-person mode? That's a great question. Well, they've definitely conditioned people to expect it. It's reasonable to think that they might. Wait, Carl, why are you thinking of Crash Bandicoot, bro? Everything good? Control 2 is a better comparison for Intergalactic. Both games are being made by studios that primarily did third-person shooter-type games. Now back to a melee-focused game. Yeah, well, it's interesting. You mentioned Control 2. That's one of the things I'm most excited about with Control 2, but man, is I was wondering if they were gonna go with a like, make it like a shooter. And I was expecting it 100%. And I'm like, I wonder if it's going to feel as exciting. And then they're like, actually, no, we're going melee based. And you're like leaving the building. I'm like, yo, okay. Okay. I will pay MBG 1,000 if GTA 6 has better gameplay than Intergalactic. But how could we judge that objectively? You know, I think it will be a perspective thing, or, you know, some people will have the opinion that Intergalactic has the better gameplay. Some people will have the opinion that GTA 6 has the better gameplay. The thing about Intergalactic gameplay that's interesting to me is knowing that Naughty Dog is trying to change things up quite radically. I do worry. I do worry that the gameplay of Intergalactic, not that it won't be good, but I do think there will be some natural comparisons. I know I keep bringing it up, but like to the Souls genre, right? Like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne, even like Sekiro perhaps. But it does seem fairly obvious that the gameplay design of Intergalactic is going to be inspired by these titles. And I just have to wonder if they're going to be able, like, it's like, all right, if you're going to try to make like an action RPG, a melee based action RPG, or a melee heavy action RPG, the competition is so fierce, man. That's really what I'm trying to say, is the competition is so fierce that it's like, bro, you have multiple studios that have pretty much mastered this. So your only option here is to come out of the gate pretty much mastering it first time, because people are not going to be very forgiving. You know, if Intergalactic, again, if it's like it looks good, but it doesn't capture, it doesn't, if it doesn't feel as good, the melee combat that is, knowing it's going to be heavily focused. But at the same time, though, I mean, I don't know how this would translate to a game like Intergalactic. The melee combat in The Last of Us 1 and 2 is incredible. You know, it's very animation heavy, but it has this, what Naughty Dog was able to do in those games is capture a feel of, I mean, a real feel of brutality, where everything felt like heavy, and or at least when I was playing, it was like Joel, you know, where you're like beating somebody with a brick. I mean, it's so intense, and it has a visceral feel to it. Very, very different from, you know, like if you're imagining defeating an enemy in Dark Souls with a sword and a shield. But when I look at Intergalactic, knowing she's going to have that, it's not like a lightsaber. I don't know what it is. Some kind of laser sword. And I mean, I don't doubt Naughty Dog. Like, I do think that if they were deciding on, we're going to make this type of game, the audio visualizer sword, I do have this general feeling of like, if this is what they decided on, they probably have some good things they're cooking up then. Because I don't think that they would commit to a game that they felt like, this isn't coming together. Like, this doesn't feel very good. Because keep in mind, and this is like the big thing too, the Last of Us Part 2 originally was supposed to be melee only. They originally were so inspired by like Bloodborne that they were like, we want to make this a melee only game. And that's really interesting to think about, but it just wasn't working. It was like breaking the game design and the game they were trying to make. So they had to add firearms. And it's just super interesting to think that like this idea, they've clearly had this idea for a long time where they want to make a very melee focused game, melee combat focused game. And I'm all for that, man. I want them to nail it. Listen, again, people think I'm rooting against Intergalactic. I'm not rooting against it. I want Intergalactic to be an incredible game. Like, I want it to be a game that, listen, man, does not matter how you feel about Naughty Dog, does not matter how you feel about anything they put out prior. This game is really, really good and really fun to play. Period. End of discussion. You know, like, that's what I'm rooting for. Because, yeah, I've also been waiting a long time for the next new Naughty Dog game. I've been waiting as many years as everybody else. And it's like, I don't, who wants to wait that long for something that's going to disappoint? Nobody wants that. So I'm rooting for it, man. And it would be awesome if they kind of surprise people. It would be awesome if Naughty Dog could come out and be like, this game isn't trying to be some kind of divisive, like, oh, you know, we're trying to upset people. No, it's just a game with some cool characters, a pretty interesting to really interesting story with mystery, and the combat is now considered like some of the best in the industry. That would be ideal. That would be ideal. Like, that'd be like awesome. Totally worth the wait. But I just try to keep in mind that, you know, Naughty Dog is a very proven studio and they have earned the benefit of the doubt, but they haven't made this type of game before. And so just like if Rockstar decided they wanted to make a if Rockstar decided they wanted to make an action RPG, I'd be like, yeah, man, we know Rockstar are masters of their craft, but how would an action RPG from Rockstar, what would that be like? You know, and I think a lot of people are going to have similar conversations if they were to do that, where it's like, okay, well, I don't know. Like, yeah, and I agree. Trying new things is good. And that's what we do want to see that. We do want to see that. Even if it means, again, like, it's the credit I'll absolutely give Naughty Dog, hands down, is they're going in a different direction, dude. Like, what they're doing with Intergalactic actually doesn't make much sense from a business-oriented standpoint. It's like logic, not even just logic, but business logic tells you do The Last of Us Part 3. And if you don't do The Last of Us Part 3, you do Uncharted 5. You don't do whatever this is. And that's why I appreciate Sony letting them do it, and why I appreciate the fact that they're like, yeah, we want to do something totally out of left field. Because I'll tell you what, man, when we were watching the Game Awards, I think it was at the end of 2024, we were speculating that Naughty Dog would show up. That's not at all what I expected. I was like, oh, I would have never guessed that that's what Naughty Dog was making. No way. So I'm rooting for it, man. MBG's Joel trauma is going to be peaking when Intergalactic drops. I swear to God, if I see a single golf club in that game, bro, I'm going to take a fucking golf club to my PlayStation. You hear? Lock it in. Lock it in, bro. 2027, the year Sony broke MBG. The year Naughty Dog truly broke MBG. You say, Daniel, you're saying you're tired of the girl boss games. I don't mind girl bosses as long as they're written well. That's like it's no different than like if you have a dude that wants to be like a badass. It's like that's cool, but are they like you gotta write them well. They have to have an interesting personality and something that it's like, oh, what's under this tough exterior? Why do they seem so abrasive? And writing a good character requires writing a good character that would be considered a boss character, whatever, whether it's male or female. I don't think the sex is what matters. I think it just matters is like, is this a good character or not? You write a character that just comes off as a dick with no redeemable qualities. Doesn't matter, whether they. It doesn't matter whether they're a man or a woman. It's like this character sucks. But it's what's it's again exploring the depth of that character and writing it. It just simply comes down to writing a good character. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. MBG, you already know there's gonna be a golf club as a collectible labeled Old Relic. That'd be pretty funny. I would be okay with that. If they actually did that, I'd be like, good one. Good one. They have an unlockable character in Everybody's Gold, and it's Abby, and she has a power swing. It's her special ability. Oh no. No. Yeah, that's true too, Gaming Survivor, to a degree. That's true too. I mean, I just think that like, I think what I would say at this point, because if you recall, like in 2023 and going into 2024, when we had these conversations, I always said that I just think there has to be a somewhat of a balance, just for the sake of like, yeah, if you are a male gamer and this isn't uncommon, it's like, I've related to and gravitated towards more naturally any game, movie, or show where there's like a strong male lead, that like I'm like, oh, like this character's cool, or like there's it speaks to me a little bit more. I think that's totally natural, just like it goes in the same way for females. And I think when it comes to PlayStation Studios, that it would be in their best interest, considering how many studios they have, how large their customer base is, because there are a lot of female gamers. There's probably more male gamers. I think that's pretty sure that's like a certainty, but there's still more female gamers than ever before. I think it's just in your best interest, like, have it be diverse. Like, in the same way that I don't think it would be wise for every PlayStation studio to be like, we need to have a really strong, tough male character as the lead in every single PlayStation Studios game. I don't think that would make sense, because it's like, that's going to get really old really fast, like really fast. Like, it'll be cool at first, but then it's like, okay, every character is starting to feel kind of the same. Yeah, we don't want that. And also the fact that, yeah, if you do that, if you make every character a male lead, I mean, across all of PlayStation Studios, yeah, you're going to have the female demographic, even if they are a smaller demographic, being like, well, can we get some female leads maybe? And I just feel like this is where you just distribute it as evenly as you can. Have some, strong male characters that the male audience can gravitate towards and feel like I'm seen, you know what I mean? And Same thing with female characters, gay characters, whatever, bro. I'm just saying, like, it's never good if you allow the pendulum to swing all the way in one direction. And I think that's what people were kind of noticing within PlayStation Studios over the last couple of years is it's like it started to seem like almost every new game reveal in every studio. It's like, okay, we're seeing a kind of like, you already kind of know what to expect. And it becomes a bit dominant. You're like, okay, that's why I think going into 2026 and 2027, it's actually looking a lot better. Where it's like, hey, I don't see anybody complain. Like, where's listen, all these I'm not trying to like take unnecessary shots right now, but it's like all the channels out there and all the culture warriors that have done nothing but talk about how everything that PlayStation does is woke and every character's woke and all this and all that. It's like, okay, well, what are you saying? Where are your videos? Where's your content on Saros? Are you, and to be fair, I'm not even following these places. I'm not even following these individuals, but it's like, are you making content about Saros and how there's seemingly a strong male lead, bearded, rugged character where you making a video on that? There's Wolverine looking savage as ever, badass. Like, I hope that the energy is being distributed evenly here, where it's like you're getting what you've been asking for now. And it's like, oh, well, Intergalactic. It's like, how do we know the same year Intergalactic launches, there's going to be another God of War? Here comes Kratos again, or a new IP for that matter, with another strong male character. I'm just saying, like, they're saying Wolverine is woke too somehow. Oh man, I guess I'm not surprised, but I'm just saying that I know I said a moment ago that it's like the sex of the character doesn't matter whether they're male or female. And I think at the end of the day, that is true. But I also try to keep in mind that even though I think that is what matters most, like, is the character written well, that is what matters most. I understand that it is also in Sony's best interest, and not just Sony, but this goes for all of these different companies, where it's like, try to understand who your audience is, who your main demographic is. And it's not that you should bend over backwards to pander to any group I don't think it's good to pander at all. But I just think it's like, just keep in mind that if you have a larger male audience that seemingly has responded very positively to, characters like Kratos, Nathan Drake, Joel, Wolverine, all that stuff, it's like, keep that in mind and serve that when you're able to. But if you also notice that, oh, we have a lot more female gamers now, and it's, maybe we gotta give it a chance, more of these games and these studios a chance to write stronger female characters, then okay, you can do that too. But the problem is, a lot of times there's an overemphasis where there shouldn't be one, where, like, for example, if you get a video game writer where they're like, we have to write this character, this female character, they have to match the same energy as like a Kratos or as like a Nathan Drake. It's like, not necessarily, no. Like, they don't have to be a mirror version to be strong, or they don't have to be like, I think a lot of times it's always kind of like I think it does the opposite of serve the notion that, like, women can be strong too. I think it does the opposite to serve that, when you're like approaching it from well, like, anything you can do, they can do too, and they can do it better. Like, that to me, that's cringe. Like, that doesn't communicate strength. That communicates insecurity. And that's why a lot of people look back at some of these female characters that were written from like the 80s, and even sometimes, in some cases the 90s, where it's like, that seems to be almost like a golden age of when, like, you were getting genuine, strong female characters that were not written in some over the top, in your face way, where it's like, we have a message to send. It's like, okay, well, you trying to send that message is actually destroying the real message you should be sending, which is get people to like your character. And then let the fact that it's a female character, that should come later. It's like, oh yeah. It's like, oh yeah, Lara Croft, like she is a female, but she's badass. And what is it? What is it that people? Well, I mean, we all know the PS1 days, and I'm not saying it's. Yeah, Samus is a good example. I'm not saying it's universal, but it's like when you think of the strong female characters that you gravitate towards. If I tell you like, what are some strong female characters throughout media that you like and you respect and you think are cool, um, there are qualities and traits written for those characters that's why you think that. It's not because of their genitalia. Well, at least I would hope not. And I just think that gets lost on so many people in 2025 and 2026. And I think it's getting a little bit better. I think things are starting to slowly, and it's been painfully slow, but the pendulum's starting to kind of, it's starting to recenter a little bit. It's taking its time, but I think it's getting there. K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. I haven't seen it, but yeah, I heard a lot about that. Now it's jiggle physics. Yeah, so I just, not to go on a whole diatribe about that again, but I do think things are getting better, and I think things are kind of reaching a more natural. I think that's just what people want at the end of the day. I think most normal, rational, reasonable adults and people, they just don't want anything that's, it's like, when you think of like a character like Duke Nukem, it's like, no one takes the character of Duke Nukem seriously. And it's like anybody who takes that character, I mean, aren't like very serious, like this is real shit. It's like, are you okay? You're like, this is supposed to be funny. Like we're laughing with it or at it. It's meant to be. If anything, it's supposed to be ridiculous because it is. And I think that what's sad is if you take that and you take the idea of almost like a satire, whatever the opposite of satire is, and I feel like so much of that exists, and people are like this, like, oh my God, like it becomes so unbearably cringe. Where it's like, you're joking, right? And it's like, no, I'm not joking. And that's where it's like, oh, okay. Alrighty then. You cared about playing a male when you were in your teens, not anymore. I'm too old to care. I like good stories. Yeah, no, I feel it on that one, man. I mean, I still have like I do feel like I relate more so to certain male-driven stories, like God of War, for example. It's like I always think of God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, where I'm like, dude, the reason why those games spoke to me personally, not to say that they can't speak to a mother or they could speak to everybody, but and yeah, same thing with Joel. Like those games really spoke to me because, and it's funny because it's what led to like Sony getting like the sad dad games moniker and all that. I'm like, it's so funny. But that shit really spoke to me very directly because I'm like, I just feel like I can relate not 70%, not 80%, but almost 100%. I mean, not like literally 100% because of the circumstances and Kratos being a god and all and having a, much better physique than me and a cooler beard and the whole 9 yards. But you know what I'm saying? Where it's like when they're showing those scenes about, Kratos grieving for his wife and trying to teach his son and trying to be a good father and learning what it means to be just a tad bit more sensitive. I'm like, that shit literally is speaking, like that's hitting directly home with me. To where is if there was like a, if Kratos wasn't a man, right? If Kratos was, it's like, goddess of war, and it's the exact same thing, but from the perspective of a mother, I could still greatly appreciate that. Like everything about that game would be awesome, except there is that missing link of like, but I am I am a father, not a mother. So I would be thinking more so about my wife or something like that. You know what I mean? Than myself. So goddess of war, bro. But I'm just saying that like it's proof that the story, these stories and these struggles that they portray in these stories can be and are in most cases universal. And that's why I always say like storytelling is about being able to appeal universally, where you don't have to not every little detail has to be boom, 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 boom. We got to tick off all your boxes. But it's the bigger overarching story of like, what's your takeaway from this? And that is always what makes good storytelling, where it's like you're not trying to speak directly. Like the overarching theme is not trying to speak directly to one group of people. The overarching theme is usually, humanity and the human experience. And I know that's like cliche, but that's true. That's why right now, if you were to think your top 5 best stories or favorite movies or favorite books or favorite games in terms of storytelling, I promise you all of your choices have universal themes. And it's that universal theme that's the biggest standout for you. I bet you. And, then you'll find then that's when you start to look at the little details. I like, oh, Kratos is a dad. I'm a dad too. Oh, Kratos has a beard. I'm growing a beard too. Stuff like that. Kratos has a son. I have a son too. Yeah, Dan, that's not going to work. Hear me out. Kratos marries a certified goth baddie. He gets cursed and can't fight. And she dresses as a Stellar Blade character. Bro, what? Let's not make Chris Brown in charge of the next God of War story, because that's some don't sound quite right there. But MBG, a character like Duke Nukem and the themes around him take with it the idea that women are always in distress and are inherently objectified. They're worth nothing more than being babes saved. And I agree with that, but that's why I think this kind of boils down to, I would say, people's individual sensitivity to things. And that's always been a persistent issue with, not issue, but struggle of humankind. Everybody's different and everybody feels differently about things. What offends one person might make another person burst out laughing because they just think it's funny shit. In the same way that one man's trash is another man's treasure, that type of thing, where it's like, it's important for people to be able to try to understand where people are coming from different perspectives. It's critical. It's also okay to be offended, but it's why it's like what I said earlier. It's like, it's worth trying to be, I think, mature in things where like one grown adult can encounter something like a Duke Nukem character, or just like Duke Nukem, and be like, wow, this is highly offensive. And you know what makes it highly offensive? Not what it is. What makes it, like, the person that's offended is not offended by what it is. They're offended by the fact that one of two things may be true, and unfortunately probably are true. Number one, the person who made it, either you can have good faith assuming they knew this was going to be funny, they're just taking the piss, it's satirical. Or two, the person who made this this is how they feel and how they think. Or three, without making it overly complex here, there's somebody else there's somebody out there who plays Duke Nukem and is like, hell yeah, bro. But like, not jokingly. Like, that is really how they are. And it's like, ooh. Yeah, I don't see that. And that's where the disconnect happens. So, MBG, you don't think that there's objective morality being prejudicial towards minorities can make some people burst out laughing. Well, yeah. I mean, that is the world we live in. Like, that's a real thing that occurs. And I think it will always just it will be a perpetual struggle, Tarnish, is what I'm trying to say. We're like, there's never going to be just one universal answer that everybody settles on. You know what I'm saying? It's why, like, one comedian's stand-up session is going to make a group of people fall over laughing and having a good old time, and it's going to make another group of people feel like, oh my God, like, that guy's a fucking asshole, and he shouldn't even be on stage right now. And that's kind of, if anything, that's just kind of it all reflects the nature of people, you know, and the fact that it's always going to be different strokes for different folks, you know. I mean, well, Tarnish, that's absolutely extreme. Like, I think it would be safe to say, I mean, you just went way out to the deep end. I think it could be safe to say that no one would earnestly and honestly think that's okay. But what you and I both know, and this is true, Tarnished, right? What you and I both know, I think what everybody knows, is that there's definitely people out there that make what you would consider very dark humor jokes. And yeah, in that, depending on where they're making that joke, like, it may or may not be accepted. And that's where, like, you know, it's the separation of, you know, it's the division of humanity as a whole, where it's like people are going to go to those, they're going to gravitate towards, like, I don't, like, sometimes it's like, yeah, I think sometimes joking about this or that is funny because I know it's not serious. And it's like, but that's, you know, that's kind of that's the delicate nature of life, man, where it's like, we got to reel it back in, bro. We do. But it's interesting to think about, where it's like, I'll put it to you this way. In your own life, there are probably moments you can think back to that, if you think about what was going on at that time in your life, what happened in that moment, your experience, at that time, it was very serious. At that time, it meant everything. Or at that time, it was very heavy. And you know how they say, like, one day you'll look back on this and you'll laugh? That's true to a degree. And I think we have to use the term degree because there are different degrees, where it's like, yes, there are some things for some people, or a lot of people, in the case of all of humanity, where, like, yeah, there are things you'll look back on as enough time. You know, they say time heals all wounds. Oh, I can look back at whatever. You laugh at it. It's like, I wasn't laughing at the time. Maybe I was crying at the time, whatever it might be. But you look back and you're like, whatever. And that's kind of, if anything, it points to the mystery that is time, you know, where it's like, give something enough time. And yeah, even people who may have had an experience with it, it's like, you know, in the right moment, in the right circumstance, depending on how much their life actually changed, even they might crack a smile. And that is interesting. I mean, now you're delving into the deep recesses of the human psyche and what's going on there. And so we probably do have to reel it in, but Chris Brown said, I like Xbox there. I said it, get out. Whoa. Chris, what the fuck are you doing, bro? He went there. Tarnish doesn't cross the line with what they said, but Chris, bro, come on, man. Come on. What are you doing, man? How dare you? No, but all this is to say that we just want good stories in video games, right? I mean, we got way off track, but that's what we want. We just want good stories, good characters. If you look at, you know, I got Kratos, I got Solid Snake up here. You know, it's because these characters were awesome, and I think they were well written. And you know, I'm gonna put Aloy here. So I'm just kidding. No offense to Aloy, but Aloy's not one of my favorite characters. She's fine though. I've never had a problem with Aloy. Soon I'll have a Fizzant poster. Hell yeah, bro. What about Ellie? Ellie's a good character. You know what's interesting about Ellie is as a character is I find myself annoyed with her sometimes, but I think that's kind of what makes her a real character, and that like, and in fact, there's a lot of these characters that I don't fully agree with. You know, no matter how, even sometimes no matter how much I relate to them, I'm like I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree with this, but that's what makes it interesting. And yeah, I think Ellie's a great character. Um, you know what the irony of Abby as a character is that even though I can't stand Abby, um, I could actually probably relate to her in a sense where it's like, yeah, if I was in her position, I'd probably feel the same way. Undoubtedly, you know, like if I was literally in that position, I'd be like, yeah, but maybe not though, maybe not because her whole thing in the story of The Last of Us 2 is like she can't, in the same way that like Ellie can't let it go, and like I think you know, a zoomed out perspective of The Last of Us Part 2, it's a study on like, you know, just simply not being able to let things go and the level of destruction that can cause in your life. And I think that's where, interestingly enough, if you love Ellie but you hate Abby, or if you love Abby but you hate Ellie, or whatever, or even Joel for that matter, it's interesting how, and that is where there is good storytelling to be found across games like The Last of Us 1 and even 2, but they're just mirror characters. You know what I mean? Like they mirror each other. And it's almost like saying, like, if you hate one, you kind of have to hate the other. If you love one, you kind of have to love the other to a degree, like to a certain degree there. And I'm like, yeah, it's an interesting way to go about it, because here we go. Buckle up. Abby's a character you're supposed to love to hate. Well, you know what character, speaking of characters and upcoming games, you know what two characters I'm thinking of that, God, man, I'm so fucking excited for these games. Resident Evil 9, Leon coming back. Maybe it's just fresh in my mind because I just played Resident Evil 2 Remake. I played Resident Evil 4 Remake not that long ago. I just think to myself, like, damn, dude, really curious to see where they go with Leon's character, because I do get this feeling, they haven't confirmed it, but I do get this feeling that they are going to be wrapping his story up, and this is going to be his send-off game. And I'm curious how they do it, man, because I do feel like Leon is one of these characters where it's like you got to show a level of respect, where it's like, all right, man, if you're going to give him a send-off, give him a good one. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just got to be good. So I'm really excited to see Leon return. But another character is, I think his name is Arjun, right? In Saros. Like, I'm really interested in the fact that Housemarque is taking the storytelling and the presentation of their story much more seriously. Not more seriously, that's the wrong word to use, but increasing the production significantly. Because I do think that when you watch the last trailer that they put out for Saros, it was a story trailer, and they're kind of showcasing like there's going to be a corridor and a hallway what looks to be in like a hotel, and I'm already seeing it. I'm like, oh, I think they're doing it again, bro. And it looks like it's going to have something to do with his love interest and something bad that happened, and I'm like, okay, man, like I'm ready. I think, you know, Housemarque's trying to level up in their storytelling game, and I'm all for that, bro, because I don't think they could really level up much further in their gameplay department. So that's another set of characters. That's interesting because like Return only had like one or two characters really. Saros looks like it's going to have they're going to have a whole cast. They said it. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Show me what you got, Housemarque. I'm very excited. The theme of Returnal is intergenerational trauma between mother and daughter. I think Saros is about fixing a broken romantic relationship where the man is trying to make up for his past mistakes. That's actually really Web5 Gamer. Are you a writer at Housemarque, because I mean, yeah, that pretty much nails it. I think you're exactly right. I think there could be some aspects to Saros that we don't know yet that we're going to uncover, but yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like the theme of Saros, or not the theme, but the objective is like saving the dying sun, right? I'm pretty sure that's what you're doing in the game. Like you have to save the sun, stop it from dying, and that's like all that matters. And that absolutely could be a metaphor for yeah, I'm trying to save my relationship. And that's really, dude, if they are going in that direction, I love that. I love that shit. I love the idea. I love the abstract representation of simple things. Like, yeah, this game is actually about a romantic relationship between a man and a woman and it falling apart, or like a deep, a deep connection, and that connection being severed, and it's being represented through this crazy, like, oh, you're in this lost world, or this off planet, and you got to save the sun. And I love it. I love that. That's why I loved Returnal so much, dude, because I'm like, that's so fucking cool. It's so cool where like by the end of that game, everything you saw, you just see differently now. I love that. I love that shit. And I love that Housemarque is doing it again, seemingly. Do I think that Housemarque will ever return to Dead Nation? Probably not. I do remember that game, though. I remember when it was announced. I think it was like a PlayStation title, too, right? I don't think Housemarque will ever return to making smaller type games like that. I could see them, if they were to return to Dead Nation, trying to make it a very different type of game, something more akin to the production values and, like a AAA Dead Nation. I'm not sure what that would look like. I mean, you know what? The more I think about it, it's possible. That game was co-op, wasn't it? That was a co-op shooter, like a twin stick shooter. Maybe they could try to go the Helldivers route, the Helldivers 2 route with it at some point. MBG jokes aside, I love my Xbox ROG Ally. PCs with that software, it's running seems the way to go for me personally. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Chris. Now get out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That is good though, man. I think you bought it at the right time, though, bro. Damn, Chris. Gaming Survivor got you. He got you, bro. He's like, how dare you? That's some funny shit. Gaming Survivor out of pocket right now. Gaming Survivor sees somebody having fun on something with an Xbox logo. Oh man. Execution style. That's scary shit. Chris, I will say though, in all seriousness, I do think you bought it at the right time, because I just saw that apparently the price of the Xbox ROG Ally is going up, because Asus announced that they're increasing the prices of all their stuff. They have a lot of gaming stuff that they sell, monitors and pre-built PCs, and so I don't know how much more expensive the Xbox Ally is going to become, but definitely pick the right time to buy it, because something tells me it's probably going to go up by a pretty penny. Let's see. We have really micro slop bot. That's crazy. Dude, you got it for under 500. It's originally 600. So it's safe to say that 600 is probably going to turn to like 750 or 800, right? Right? Like, what's happening, man? This is scary. No, he didn't time him out. He didn't time him out. Yo, if he timed him out, I'd be like, yo, Gaming Survivor. Whoa. I am the physical embodiment of Game Pass. I am not real. Oh, shit, dude. My channel's being haunted. I knew Microsoft created some kind of crazy shit to stalk my channel. Skynet. I hope I don't have to buy anything computer-wise in the next year. Yeah, I was thinking about that too with my PC. I think I bought my PC. It was a pre-built. It was expensive. It was like God. It was expensive. It was like $1,900, $2,000. Was it more than that? I don't think it was more than that. Well, yeah, it was quite expensive. At least for me. I'm like, I've never paid that much for a computer in my life. But when I bought it, it was because I'm like, well, I'm going to be willing to pay this price because I need this thing. It's going to be my be all end all for a long time. And I've had it for, I guess it'll be going on close to 3 years now. And I do wonder, I was just thinking about that the other day, like how much longer do I have for this PC? And I do clean it. Like I take the case off and I dust it every like 3 to 6 months, depending on how it's looking. But I don't know that I don't know if there's anything else I should be doing to increase the lifespan. Like that's actually a question I have for you guys with your computers, your PCs. When you're not using it, do you like shut it down or do you keep it in sleep mode, or like what's the rule of thumb there? Like, is it better to shut down your computer that'll ultimately extend its life, or is it worse to do that? I do wonder about this. You turn it off. I usually at the end of the day, like when I know I'm not going to be turning it on for like another anywhere between 7 to 12 hours, I'll turn it off completely. But if I know I might have to come back and do something, I put it in sleep mode. We all might need to upgrade our TVs for next gen. Well, yeah, this TV I bought in 2020, so that would sound about right. Chris, you always shut yours down too. Dan, you shut it off as well. Yeah, I don't know. I do that with my PlayStation 5 Pro. Whoa. I do exactly that. I always shut it down. I never really put my PlayStation in rest mode. I do sometimes, like occasionally, but I mean, I would have to have like a specific reason, truthfully. It's fine to put it to sleep if you're going to use it again. Saying MBG, restart it every so often. Restarting clears a few things. Shutdowns don't. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll keep that in mind. Hellbound says PC always on, only laptop turning off. Make sure you maintenance on the CPU, put new thermal paste every year. I guess I would have to look into how to do that. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to mess with anything. Like I don't know. It doesn't look too complex. I don't know. Like I look in my PC and I'm like, I think I could, but I don't want to break any. Like my whole thing is I'm afraid of breaking something. Like I don't want to touch it. You know, I don't feel safe. Yeah, I use Windows 11. Does anybody here use a Mac? Is it true? Is Mac better than Windows? I mean, Windows is getting like fucking brutalized, man. I've been talking about that. Everything I see about what people say about Windows, they're talk about it like it's it's the worst OS ever created. It's like a dumpster fire. And I use Windows 11 and I'm like, well, to be fair, I'm not doing anything crazy. I don't really notice the difference between everything I have to do, you know, in my workflow with my PC, you know, between Windows 10 and 11. So for me, it almost feels like nothing really changed. But, you know, that's just me. MBG, you don't feel safe around your PC? Time to smash it up, bro. I don't feel safe around it. Microsoft's watching me. People want to switch to Linux after Windows 11. I don't know anything about Linux, dude. Like I hear about it, but I don't know anything about it. Isn't it like kind of complicated and more difficult to use? Well, I know when it comes to like Mac, it's not really good for gaming. At least that's what I've read. But yeah, I don't PC game either, so. Whoa. What was that? It's not good for the average person. Don't let them fool you. All right. Android runs on Linux? Let me oh shit, guys, I forgot to talk to you about this. Somebody was just talking to me about this game the other day. Mudang, Two Hearts, probably canceled, and the studio, EVR Studio, their website shut down. And they also suffered layoffs last year. Bro, do you guys know what game we're talking about? Yo, Dan's melting down. Let me see if I can find an update to this. This was from a day ago. Two Hearts. News. Let's see. Will the Korean Splinter Cell be canceled? Mudang Two Hearts developer studios undergoes layoffs and the game's website was shut down. Here we go. So Tech4 Gamers says Mudang Two Hearts was announced last year as a third-person action stealth game that appears to be based on the Splinter Cell formula as seen in the gameplay reveal. As ambitious as the game looked, unfortunately, we may never get to play it. All signs point to the project being canceled. EBR Studio, the Korean-based developer behind the game, has been going through a rough patch ever since the game's announcement. Now it seems that the studio has completely shut down, also potentially putting an end to Mudang Two Hearts development. Why it matters. Mudang seemed like a terrific single-player game that seemingly took the Splinter Cell formula up a notch with its open-ended world design, captivating aesthetics, dual playable characters, and multiple approaches. As of last year, EVR Studio went through a massive round of layoffs that reduced the employee count from 100 plus all the way down to only 22. Oh, yeah, this game's cooked. Holy shit. I didn't know it was that bad. And their website stopped working a while ago and has now been completely removed. Additionally, the developers behind the game have also been inactive, whereas before they were publishing behind-the-scenes content on YouTube. From the gameplay reveal, Mudang Two Hearts was well deep into development, and with just a year away from release at this point, it's saddening to see the current situation. Sony, save this game. It says the title has a release date of March 2026. Bro, this is... What? So we got to check this trailer out. So I feel like you guys can't appreciate how shitty this is, if true, until we see the game again. So let me bring it up. Mudang. That's crazy, dude. The game does seem like it did seem like it was almost done. I think this was shown off at an Xbox event. Mudang Two Hearts. We have to watch it on the Xbox channel, guys. Mudang Two Hearts Xbox Games Showcase 2025. Brace yourself, Gaming Survivor. I know this is going to sting a little, but this is the one we got to watch. Let me bring it up. I'm just gonna. There we go.
지정태.
Man, what the fuck? like, come on, bro. It's a multi-platform game. How is this gonna get canceled, man? Like, of all the fucking games that are in development that are, I'm telling you, it's like I see something I like and it's like, that's a shame, MBG. Canceled. Oh, what's that? MBG likes it? He thinks it looks good? Canceled. Reaction to Mighty Keef's video? Damn, dude. Yeah, maybe we'll do that at the end of the stream. Let me but yeah, man, I think that game looks sick. And
I am.
oops, hold on. Sorry. It seems like that game looks sick. It seems like it's actually gonna get canceled if it's not if it hasn't already. Well, here's the thing, Irfan. It didn't get it wasn't like explicitly confirmed that it was canceled, but the studio suffered layoffs earlier last year. They went from over 100 developers to only 22. Their website shut down, and there's been no update from them since. And all these things are, I mean, unless the only thing I can think is that like this was some kind of scam. Because it's crazy. Like if you look at that trailer, that game looks, you would think like that game is almost done, bro. Doc Zarkand with the $5 chat says, MBG, why are you playing the Xbox video? PlayStation forever, bro. PlayStation, yeah, how dare I? I think it was because it was actually shown at the Xbox showcase. See what happens? Everything Xbox touches, canceled. Canceled. What are the chances Xbox had something to do with The Last of Us multiplayer, huh? That game was probably going to go to Xbox and then it got canceled. No, but I think the only thing that can make sense to me here is this game was like a scam of some kind, where like everything we just saw in that trailer, it's like, yeah, the game doesn't actually exist. Like everything we made, we literally just made for that trailer. That would be hard to believe because it's like, well, there's a lot here that you're showing, but I mean, they haven't shown any like extended gameplay or anything like that, so yeah, I'm not sure, man. Abandoned 2. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, man. Ow. Just smashed my shin. That's sad. I would hope that the game's not canceled. I would hope that if it's not a scam and it actually is in development. No catch today. Yeah, dude, Irfan, Clark is, well, he's not down here anymore, but when he is down here, he likes to sleep on this recliner I have over here more than the cat tower. And I'll tell you, it's the weather, man. It has to be. It's extremely cold out today. It's cold in the basement where I am right now. So I don't think that they want to be down here unless I'm going to give them treats. Unless it's like, hey guys, come get your treats. They'll come get the treats. They'll eat it and they'll leave because they're getting chilly. Even I'm a little chilly down here. But yeah, it's normal. It's normal in winter. Damn, Irfan, savage. They want to be warm. They're going to go into the sofa. I mean, yeah, they've been chilling on our bed upstairs, and sometimes they go all the way upstairs because it's warmer up there. They like the warmth. They sure do. I need that Malkovich Microsoft Space Force soundbite. I know, dude. We save it. We save it for special occasions. Well, guys, we'll probably wrap this up in about 10 minutes or so. So we'll do like a last call here. I pretty much said everything I had to say about the PlayStation 6 topic. We've just been hanging out for a little bit. So if you guys want to drop like any more support, if you want to drop any more memberships, if you want to try to get us to the goal before we wrap up, feel free to do that. Anything at all, super chats, now would be the time to do it before we head out here. We'll hang out for like another 10 minutes or so. All right. Let me go see if there's anything else I missed, though. It's so bright. So bright. The official PlayStation account tweets, worried about your gaming backlog? Don't worry, you've got all year. Is that some kind of joke? Why would you say that? Why would you post that, bro? Knowing the games that are coming out this year. Sick jokes. The Mighty Keef reaction. Irfan. You guys want me to do the Mighty Keef reaction? I was thinking about saving it. All right, we can check it out. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Move it to a new window. Okay. All right. Who's talking shit? Wait, what are you talking about? What's going on? What's going on? All right, this one's titled Gamers When They Try to Build a PC in 2026.
Mighty Keef.
Bro, GTA 6 is gonna be crazy, man. I don't even know how consoles are gonna run that thing. Console? Brother, I'm about to build a high-end gaming PC next year, so I'll be swimming in FPS. I'm sorry, you're building a gaming PC in 2026. Damn, I love seeing black millionaires. What? Oh, you haven't heard. Big name manufacturers are moving away from producing chips for everyday consumers like you and me, and now producing chips for AI data centers. No. Oh yes, sir. When items are in low supply, people start to panic buy. The price of RAM about to skyrocket. Nah, bro, you're tripping. RAM is only like $60, bro. There's no... Yeah, it's over, brother. We are fried. Ain't no way, brother. What am I looking at? That's the price for watching this AI slop on YouTube. Now people gotta sell their mother for a motherboard. RAM used to be one of the most least expensive things when building a PC. Now it costs more than the PS5. A budget PC is now a luxury PC, and a luxury PC will now put you in bankruptcy. Wait, what does this mean for everything else? What's gonna happen with console? What do you mean what's gonna happen with console? Do you already own one? Yeah. Well, that's the last one you get. Oh. The RAM shortage ain't just for PC, brother. Gaming consoles use it too. We never get into Switch 3. We never get into PS6. You're gonna have that PS5 for the next 5 decades. They're gonna stop producing quality hardware and force us to play video games via streaming services. Whoa, hold on now. That boy's spitting. Get out! Okay. This can't be happening, bro. Why can't we just get rid of AI? Get rid of AI. Brother, there are 6 films that explain why we're already doomed. The Matrix only has 3 movies. Oh, I was talking about Terminator. Oh, so there's 9 movies. And we still opened that box, brother, and there's no closing it now. We're done for. Humanity is doomed. Best thing to do is relocate to some private island and build your own civilization free of technology. Here's some startup money. Can't believe we're gonna lose to AI slop. The way AI is evolving, you're not gonna know what's real or fake in a few years. Hell, you may not know what's real or fake right now. Hell, this might not be real. This whole skit could have been AI. I'm kidding, it's me. It's still me. I think. Hey guys, just wanted to come in here and say I cannot express just how grateful I am to have you all.
Damn, that was a good one, man. I mean, you know, it's getting like scary watching his videos though, because like at what point is it not funny? Because it's like, yeah, this is just real. It's just real. Damn, dude. Let me see something here. Dude, yeah, Irf and I've seen this one before. It's good stuff. Yeah. Well, PS5 for the next 5 decades, bro. Lock in. Hope you like that PS5. Hope you took good care of that PS5. All right. Let's see where I'm at here. Where are we at time-wise? All right, yeah, we got about About 5 more minutes. Always appreciate a good Mighty Keef video. PS5, 5 decades. Well, I'm sure a lot's going to happen in 2026. I don't think you need to be a fortune teller to know that a lot's going to happen in 2026, and it's going to, you think I got to put the YouTube black plaque behind me? Whoa. I was trying to find a good space for it. It's kind of hard. I would have to try to specifically cut something out. I'll see if I can make something happen at some point. It would be nice to have it behind me, yeah. I have it on the other side of this room. You guys can't see it, but I have like on the complete opposite end of where I am, there's like this big table. It's not big, it's like about this big. It comes up to your waist. It's like, got shelves on it, and I put like a bunch of stuff over there. Little shrine. No, it's nice though. And I have the plaque over there for now. You think PlayStation and Nintendo will ride this out? I think they will too. I think they have to. They have to. They can't panic and just be like, we need to completely change our business model. They have to wait to see the results. Like, I do believe that PlayStation will only drastically change their business model and move away from console if they have no choice. If it's like we just can't sell hardware anymore, or it's selling like 1/3 what it used to, and we're going down a lot, quarter over quarter, for the last like 2 fiscal years. I mean, like when we talk about Xbox, bro, that's literally what happened to them. And not people, but like the really dedicated Xbox fan base, unfortunately, like they had to experience in like real time. Yeah, like they had to experience in real time. Like, so what happens to a built up console ecosystem if the console fails to sell? If Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo or any one of these console manufacturers, they hit that brick wall of like, yeah, people are not buying. That's what happens. Like, and it happens rapidly, man. And that, that's why people always ask me, like, why do you care about sales? Why do you care about sales? It's like, take a good look. That's why. Because it's like, bro, like, if they can't sell the hardware is going to go away. The ecosystem's going to shrink, and it's going to become irrelevant. And, it's like, well, we still get their games. It's like, yeah, you're right. And that's important and that's good. But Xbox as we knew it is pretty much over. And I'm just speaking like, if you were a fan of what Xbox was, then you probably feel bad about that. You don't want it to be over. You don't want it to go in this direction. Just like if that were to happen to PlayStation, I would feel bad, because it's like, yeah, I don't want it to go in that direction. Like, I don't want PlayStation to get to a point where it's like, we don't give a shit if you buy a console, dude. We're not even really going to care about making them anymore. We're totally like, I don't want to reach a point where PlayStation were like, we just want you to go buy our games on PC. Like, I don't want that, man. That would suck, because that's not really what I like. If that's all I could do and that was my only option, sure, but long live console, bro. I like the console experience. But guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode of Press X Podcast. I do hope you enjoyed it. We talked extensively about the PlayStation 6 and this kind of update. Will there be a stream tomorrow? If there is a stream tomorrow, it's going to be at a later time than normal. All right. It's going to be later than normal. Maybe not dramatically later, but I might be a couple hours late. 1, 2, maybe 3. So if there is a stream, because I don't know, I'd have to figure out what the topic of discussion would be. I'm sure I could figure something out, but I was thinking about maybe doing a dedicated stream talking about my experience platinuming Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm a little nervous to do that though, because like I don't know if people are going to actually want to watch that or tune into that or not. I do try to keep in mind that people want they want to talk about certain topics more than others or hear about certain topics more than others. But if there is one tomorrow, it'll be, yeah, it's been 7 years. It has been. It's an older game too. Yeah. Just keep that in mind. If I do stream tomorrow, it will be a couple hours later. But yeah, that wraps today's stream, guys. Before I head out, I want to thank everybody for their support. If you dropped any memberships, became a member, super chats, direct donations, it all helps tremendously. I can only do what I do here because you guys make it possible. You guys are the lifeblood of the channel. So thank you so much for that. Also want to give a special shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the streams. If you guys see him in the comments with those timestamps, give him some thanks, show him some love. I know he appreciates it. So thank you for that, Devil Shooter. Excuse me. And yeah, that does it. So guys, just make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Go check out the video that I put out earlier if you want. And I will see you guys very soon. So until then, take care, everyone.